After the man had his testicles removed at the hospital, he realized they had cut off the wrong ones. The cancer had already spread throughout his body. But after learning this, he wasn't angry at all. Instead, he clutched the safety charm his wife had left him and burst into loud laughter. Because the man thought, only this kind of death, dying without descendants, could appease his wife's departed soul. But when you opened your eyes again, what you saw was the double happiness character pasted on the window of your old home, covered in dust. Then you quickly searched inside and outside the house, and saw Lin Xingxue curled up naked on the adobe com. At that moment, her big eyes were lifeless. On her originally fair and flawless body were crisscrossing bruises, and upon seeing again the woman who had haunted your dreams for most of your life, you immediately became agitated. Then you stepped forward and pulled her into your arms. You had so much guilt and longing to express. But at that moment, it all got stuck in your throat, and you started crying in grievance. In your past life, you had schemed to make Lin Xingxue fall into the reservoir, causing the villagers to see her disheveled. After you rescued her, for the sake of her reputation, she was forced to marry you. But from the moment Lin Xingxue entered the house, she never had a single good day. In your endless domestic abuse, she jumped into the reservoir with her child, committing suicide. It wasn't until your brother-in-law fished the bodies of mother and daughter out of the river that you finally came to your senses. After that, although you rode the wave of the times and earned wealth that would last 10 lifetimes, the woman who used her life to teach you to grow was already gone. Just as you were immersed in the joy of rebirth, suddenly a shrill cry of anguish came. Get out! Don't touch me! Seeing Lin Xingxue trembling all over, you remembered. Right now, Lin Xingxue had borrowed money from her parents' home to buy rice paste for the child, but you had snatched it away to buy liquor. And after coming home drunk, you brutally tormented her in bed. Thinking of this, you raised your hand and slapped yourself hard a dozen times. Soon, blood trickled from the corner of your mouth. Lin Xingxue watched your actions silently and couldn't help but give a mocking smile. She had lost count of how many times this had happened. After all, every time you sobered up, you would kneel and beg for forgiveness. But within a couple of days, your fists and feet would land on Lin Xingxue again. She could bear your torment in bed with humiliation, but she couldn't bear watching her baby starve with nothing to eat. The baby's weak cries brought a trace of life to Lin Xingxue's beautiful phoenix eyes. She frantically threw on clothes and picked up her daughter. But because Lin Xingxue had long-term malnutrition, the little one couldn't suckle any milk and started wailing again, and the daughter's cries woke you up. You immediately got out of bed and picked up the clothes on the floor. Wife, wait for me. I'll go get something for our Nyo to eat right now. Saying that, you strode quickly to the village's small shop. Old Huang at the shop saw you, grinned with his yellow teeth and asked, what liquor do you want this time? Uncle Huang, could I get a bag of rice paste on credit? I'll pay you tomorrow. Old Huang heard you wanted credit again and looked at the red slap marks on your face. He didn't say a word and took a bag of rice paste from the shelf for you. You, grateful, arrived at the meeting and hurried home. When you entered the house and saw your wife, still in the same state as when you left, your heart ached again. Wife, I bought it back. Hearing your words, Lin Xingxue immediately became wary. Her pale face was full of terror. I warn you, don't you dare sell my daughter, or else I curse the Zhao family to die without descendants. Seeing this, you stood frozen in place. You vaguely remembered that this had indeed happened. Originally, you had planned to sell your daughter to a couple in the market town to get money for liquor. What a bastard thing I've done. No wonder in the past life you died of testicular cancer. It served you right. So, you put the rice paste on the worn-out small bed. I swear I will never sell our Nyo. Tomorrow I'll go to the market town to find work. After saying that, you turned and walked out. Outside, you slapped yourself hard several more times. If you remembered correctly, Lin Xingxue would that very month jump into the reservoir with her daughter. Thinking of this, you trembled all over, seeing that it was getting dark, and the house had run out of food. 20 minutes later, you arrived at the foot of the back mountain. You pulled out the elastic band from your underpants and made a slingshot. With a snap, you shot a pebble. A turtle dove flapped its wings and flew up. In your past life, after you became rich, you fell in love with shooting and had also played with a slingshot for a while. After crouching in the grass for half a day, you finally managed to catch some with a net. There was a pheasant, and you shot a few turtle doves with the slingshot. The turtle doves were very small. 4 together weighed no more than a gene or 2. But the pheasant was a fat 5 gene. You tied these things together with vines and hung them on a tree branch, preparing to carry them home on a pole. But suddenly you felt the weight behind you disappear. You were so startled you broke out in a cold sweat. Have I encountered a ghost? Suddenly, you saw the safety charm hanging on your chest flash with light. This was something your wife had always worn close to her in the past life. It wasn't jade or plastic, until she jumped into the river to commit suicide. She took it off and threw it by the reservoir. When you looked closely, the charm's light was gone again, so you couldn't help reaching out to touch it. The next second, you entered a space. Just looking at the area, it wasn't even as big as your hospital room. After testing it several times, you understood. By holding the charm, you could enter, and by thinking about going out, you could leave. With this golden finger, you could make a comeback in this life. On the way home, many households already had electricity, but your house still used kerosene lamps. Even the hardest years of natural disasters were over, yet you still couldn't be sure of your next meal. You carried the things directly into the kitchen. After it was completely dark, you brought a large bowl of turtle dove soup into the main room. Ching ching, time to eat. I made turtle dove soup to boost your milk. After calling 3 times, Lin Qingxue slowly walked out from the inner room. When she saw the large bowl of turtle dove soup on the table, she didn't approach immediately, but stood still, her eyes full of hatred. At this moment, looking at your wife's patched clothes, your heart ached again. In this era of material scarcity, Lin Qingxue's beauty stood out remarkably. But you were such a jerk. You had gotten her, but didn't cherish her. Now seeing her fully on guard, though you longed to sit and eat with her, you also understood that as long as you were there, she certainly wouldn't pick up her chopsticks. I'll eat in the kitchen. With that, you turned and walked out, and Lin Qingxue stood frozen in place, staring at the large bowl full of turtle dove meat and soup. A feeling of unreality welled up in her heart. Is this a dream? Or is this the last meal before death? In the past, whenever there was any food at home, you would fill yourself up first, and she could only drink some pan-washing water. So now, though she was starving, Lin Qingxue didn't dare to eat easily, until she walked out of the house, and saw you squatting under the window drinking soup, and a big wild pheasant hanging at the kitchen door. She guessed you must have gone up the mountain to hunt game. Lin Qingxue then turned around and returned to the main room, picked up the bowl, and began to eat. After finishing the meal, you, under your wife's wary gaze, took over the dishwashing. In the past, you were a lazy man, and this might have been the first time in this household you seriously did housework. After finishing these tasks, recalling the awful things you did during the day, you went and boiled a pot of hot water and brought it inside. Ching, use this water to wipe yourself. Having said that, you put down the basin, and turned and hurried away, sitting at the door. After a long while, only then did the faint sound of water come from inside the room, and you looked up at the starry sky, planning to find a way to earn money tomorrow, to quickly improve the home's condition. Now it's already autumn, and in winter, the temperature drops to -20 degrees, freezing water instantly. Your wife and child need to get winter clothes, otherwise, they won't survive this winter. After hearing the water stop, you got up and entered the room. Seeing you suddenly appear, Lin Qingxue was so scared, she kept moving back sideways. Don't come near me. Seeing this, you cursed yourself for being such a beast before, and also knew her heart wouldn't be untangled for a while. So you gently reminded your wife, I just came in to take the water out. Having said that, you picked up the water from the floor and walked out. Lin Qingxue paid you no attention. Seeing you leave, she quickly put on her clothes. In the courtyard, you used the hot water your wife had used to wash yourself briefly. After all, you had lain in the grass for a long time to catch those turtle doves. After washing, you sat down on the threshold, recalling the experiences of your past life. There was a time when a few outsiders wanted to go into the mountains to collect things. Afraid of getting lost, they found you, who had nothing to do, to be their guide. At that time, you thought these city people had nothing better to do, but you also knew how to pick those wild dendrobiums. Now you could go dig them up and sell them. Thinking of this, you immediately perked up, tied a torch, prepared some not-so-professional tools, and then said to the room, Ching, keep the door. I'm going out for a while. You were out the whole night, not returning until 4 in the morning. As luck would have it, you accidentally found a civet cat den on the way down the mountain, pulled out a few that still hadn't opened their eyes. The small civet cats, and back home quickly handled them. After keeping one in the kitchen, you carried 2 baskets to the market town. On single number days in the market town, there was a market. You found a crowded spot, took out the civet meat and skins from the baskets. Young man, your mountain goods are good. You originally thought you couldn't sell them, so you take them back and stew them all together. Share some with your eldest brother, second brother, and third sister's families. But just as you set out the goods, someone asked about the price of civet meat. An old man and woman saw you, a young man, tan dark, obviously a mountain person, and with the price being good, they immediately wanted to. In this era, you needed meat coupons to eat meat, so only such mountain goods could be bought. They wanted to give their grandson a treat. Before leaving, the old woman tugged at the old man's clothes, signaling him, and also skinned all the civets, saying she'd make gloves for the little grandson at home. So in less than 2 hours, all the civets were sold. Then you took the large firewood you had collected yesterday to the old brand pharmacy in town. When you brought out the stuff, the old man with thick glasses stared wide-eyed, carefully took the large firewood, examined it closely, then stretched out his hand and made a price. Little brother, this price. You saw the price he offered, and frowned slightly. This guy was trying to cheat you, a country bumpkin, so you reached out to take back your things. Seeing this, the old man reached out and stopped you, then stroked his goatee and soothed. Little brother, if you're not happy with the price, we can negotiate. 6 great unity bills. Can't go higher than this. Although the large piece had been accidentally broken by you, its value was far more than this price. But you were in urgent need of money, and your wife and child were hungry at home. After thinking for a moment, you decided to sell. Then you went and bought meat and flour. You ran to 2 supply cooperatives, and finally bought the rare milk powder of this era. Before heading back, you thought of your wife's old patched clothes from yesterday, so you walked into the only small state-run shop in town. On the way back, you made a detour to find an old hunter over 70. After giving him a bunch of food, you managed to exchange for the hunter's treasured hunting rifle. In this era, meat required coupons, so to enjoy meat freely, you needed to do it yourself. When you were almost home, you noticed Lin Qingxue, carrying the child on her back, was working in the fields. Big brother Zhao Jinxing saw you coming over, and immediately flew into a rage. Where the hell have you been? Making your wife work in the fields alone. You looked at the big brother in front of you, and your nose tingled. I went to work in the market town. I bought some meat and flour on the way. Come over for dinner tonight with your sister-in-law and the kids. Hearing this, big brother looked you up and down with suspicion, glanced at the mud on your pant legs, and then looked at the baskets full of goods. Your sister-in-law just made a pot of cornmeal buns at noon. I'll have your wife take a few back later. We won't come over to eat. Treat your sister-in-law well from now on. So you didn't say anything more, nodded, and carried your things back home. To win over your wife, you must first win over her stomach. So you started bustling about in the kitchen. When it was almost dark, Lin Xingxue came home with a few cornmeal buns. But just as she entered the yard, she smelled the aroma of meat from the kitchen. So she hurried to the kitchen door and saw you busy in front of the simple stove. Lin Xingxue had worked all day, already starving, and after putting the cornmeal buns away, she went into the bedroom, placing the sleeping child on the small bed. But when she turned her head, she saw a can of milk powder on the table. Lin Xingxue's blood rushed to her brain. She ran into the kitchen, raised her hand, and slapped you. Did you go force my mother to give you money again? How can you be such a scoundrel? Being suddenly reminded of this by your wife, you gradually recalled your own wretched actions, that you had indeed threatened your mother-in-law with a knife for money. So you quickly denied it. I didn't. The money is all what I earned today. As you spoke, you quickly reached into your crotch. Seeing this, Lin Xingxue became even angrier. What time is it? Still thinking about that. Then she came forward and gave you another slap. Having been slapped twice in a row, you were left speechless. Seeing no sign of Lin Xingxue stopping, you quickly pulled out 5 great unity bills from your crotch. Wife, this is the money I earned today. Take it. Lin Xingxue, seeing the bills forcibly stuffed into her hand, felt dizzy. Seeing your wife about to fall, you reached out to help. But Lin Xingxue fiercely knocked your hand away. She simply couldn't believe that a good-for-nothing like you could earn so much money in a single day. What shady things had he been doing outside? He simply couldn't believe it. That a good-for-nothing loafer like you could earn so much money in a single day. What shady business did he do outside? What to do now? Life is truly impossible to live. You see that Lin Xingxue doesn't believe your words at all. You almost knelt before her. I went up the mountain last night and picked wild dendrobium and happened to come across a civet cat's nest. Those things got me 6 10-yuan bills. I spent 1 to buy grain. Now this is all that's left. Upon hearing dendrobium, Lin Xingxue's eyes finally had some spirit. In the north, there's ginseng. In the south, there's dendrobium. That stuff has high medicinal value. It can be sold for money, but it all grows deep in the mountains. Very hard to find, especially in the dead of night. But thinking carefully, when she got up in the morning, there were indeed bloodstains by the well. There was also civet meat stewing in the pot. Could it be that she really wronged him? But how does he know about dendrobium? Under Lin Xingxue's gaze, you raise your right hand and swear, I really didn't do anything bad. Or may I die without descendants. Seeing that his wife's breathing had steadied a bit, and her expression wasn't so fierce anymore, you feel relieved. Xingxue, quickly put the money away. I'll go deliver some meat to Big Brother's house. Let them have a taste too. Although it's safer hidden in the space. But handing the money over to his wife, that means handing over the family assets. Then you pick up a plate of stir-fried civet meat, and the stewed Crucian carp and tofu soup, and place them on the table in the main room. Then you go back to the kitchen and fill a large bowl with meat. Walk towards Big Brother's house. On the way, you also pay back the money owed to Old Huang for rice paste, and the earlier liquor money. Meanwhile, Lin Xingxue stares at the 10-yuan notes in her hand, and quickly goes back into the room. She has been married here for over 2 years. It's always been you taking money from her. This is the first time you've voluntarily handed over money. So she splits the money into 5 portions, and hides them separately. After finishing this, she hears steady footsteps coming from outside. She walks out of the room, and sees the steaming dish and soup on the table, feeling a bit dazed for a moment. Then she goes to the kitchen to take a look. The flour jar is more than half full. The oil jar is also full, and hanging from the beam is a slab of pork belly weighing over 10 pounds. Has he really changed? At this moment, Lin Xingxue isn't sure. After all, a leopard can't change its spots. Seeing Lin Xingxue sit down, you add a pheasant leg to her bowl. I'll go up the mountain early tomorrow morning. Before winter arrives, I need to scout all the places where dendrobium can be dug up. After all, this is the fastest way to make money right now. Once the country opens up, I can use the money to invest in other things. Hearing your words, Lin Xingxue is taken aback and nods. She says nothing. Last night, he was just extremely lucky, stumbling upon a dendrobium. How can he be that lucky every time? Lin Xingxue wanted to remind you, if you really want to make money, get a job. Even if it's just a few cents a day, it's still better than no income. But thinking about your temperament, as long as you don't go out gambling wildly, she'll let you drink. She picks up her chopsticks, wanting to put the pheasant leg back into the bowl. Seeing her like this, you quickly use the child as an excuse to stop her. Wife, you're too thin. Eat more, or the child won't have milk. No matter how good formula is, it can't compare to breast milk. Besides, formula is expensive and hard to buy. This is Crucian carp and tofu soup. Drink it to help with milk production. These words make Lin Xingxue glare at you. Her knuckles white as she grips the chopsticks. But she doesn't refuse again. Today, you've been busy for a whole day and night, tired and sleepy. The family's livelihood problem is finally solved. After filling your stomach, you directly say, Wife, I'll sleep first. Saying that, you stand up, bend down, and go into the inner room, and immediately fall asleep as soon as your head hits the pillow. When Lin Xingxue finishes washing the dishes and returns to the room, she sees the clothes you took off on the floor, frowning, then picks them up and washes the clothes by moonlight. After finishing, she drags her tired body back to the bedroom. Her foot accidentally kicks a basket. Lin Xingxue picks it up and looks. It turns out to be a brand new set of women's clothes, and 3 sets of baby clothes. So she stares at you, who are fast asleep, for a long while. She can't quite understand this person. You sleep like a log, completely dead to the world. During the night, your daughter woke up twice, but she couldn't wake you up until early morning. You finally open your eyes groggily. Turning over, you see Lin Qingxue curled up tiredly, huddled up, facing away from you. At this moment, she is only wearing a worn-out little vest. It makes you drool. After all, in the previous life, after Lin Qingxue died, you never looked for another woman. So you reach out and pull her into your arms. This all feels as unreal as a dream. Just as you're about to lower your head and kiss her, the wife in your arms suddenly stiffens, clearly resistant to your touch. So you forcibly suppress the bitterness in your heart. Roll over and get out of bed. You'll have to bear it for now. You take the washed clothes from the clothesline, not caring that they're not dry. You quickly put them on. Then, you tiptoe and take out the things from the basket. Place them on the table. At this moment, Lin Qingxue sits up in bed. Facing you with a cold face, she says, if you really want to change, then find a job. As long as you're willing to work hard, you can earn over 10 yuan a month. Our family can get by. Hearing your wife speak to you voluntarily, you feel a surge of joy. You know that Lin Qingxue is thinking about you, but heaven has given you a chance to live again. You must, when the country fully opens up, save enough startup capital. In the previous life, after they, mother and daughter, left, you were like a homeless dog, wandering outside for some days. Later, you met a benefactor and had the opportunity to work as a waiter in a state-owned store. Because you were sweet-tongued and good with words, you were gradually promoted to manager. And because of this, you had the chance to cross social classes and interact with those big shots. In this life, you must rely on your own hands to quickly earn your first pot of gold. So, hunting and gathering dendrobium is the fastest way to make money now. More importantly, you now have memories of your previous life and know where to find dendrobium. How could you let such a good opportunity slip by? But for now, you don't know how to explain to your wife why you insist on going up the mountain to gather dendrobium. Lin Qingxue sees that you remain silent, knows that you have a stubborn temper, so she simply pulls up the blanket and lies down again. In the pot on the stove, there are corn flour buns left for you. Hearing her words, you raise your eyebrows sharply. Your face is full of undisguised joy. Then you come to the bedside and plant a kiss on Lin Qingxue's cheek. Wife, I talked with our big brother yesterday. You don't need to go help them today. When you have time, take the pork from the kitchen and give half to my mother-in-law. And Lin Qingxue, seeing you approach, thought she had angered you and that you were going to hit her again. But she didn't expect to be ambushed by you. She didn't hear clearly what you said, nor did she see you. Before you left, you even kissed your daughter. When she comes back to her senses, you're already gone. In the dim room, only she and her daughter sleeping in the small bed remain. Although it's still early, she tosses and turns, unable to fall asleep again. She lies in bed until the sun warms her backside. When she hears someone knocking on the door, second sister-in-law, why are you here so early? Is there something? Lu Ho-Hat's eyes dart around, peering into the kitchen. She laughed so readily. Sister-in-law, I heard from big sister-in-law that your family ate meat last night. Did your fourth brother win big gambling? Saying that, without waiting for a reply, her feet seemed to have eyes, and went straight to the kitchen door. Good heavens, could fourth brother have stolen or robbed? Such a big piece of meat must have cost a lot. His family hasn't seen any meat for nearly half a year. The child cried for days, but they weren't willing to buy any. She finally tore her eyes away, but then glimpsed on the pitch-black wall. There actually hung half a pheasant. She immediately lost her composure. Fourth brother's wife, you must keep an eye on your husband. If he keeps gambling, he might end up in re-education through labor. Lin Qingxue heard this, and her face gradually darkened. Second sister-in-law, what kind of talk is that? If it's illegal, naturally the police will catch him. No need for you, second sister-in-law, to worry about such things. Lu Ho-Hat wanted to say more, but her eyes rolled around, as if she thought of something, and she swallowed the words that were on the tip of her tongue. Don't be angry with me, second sister-in-law. I'm just worried about our fourth brother. My husband and he are blood brothers. My little Bao is crying for meat, crying from craving. Could you lend me 5 gene of meat first? Later I'll have your second brother bring you the money. After more than 2 years of living together, Lin Qingxue was as clear as a mirror in her heart, and had long seen through what kind of person this second sister-in-law was. Once something enters her house, it's like a meat bun thrown at a dog, never to return. And she opens her mouth asking for 5 gene of meat. Not to mention, she didn't dare to decide on her own to lend it. Even if she had the authority, it would be impossible. Such a big matter. I can't decide on my own. Second sister-in-law, wait for fourth brother to come back and talk to him. Saying that, she walked over and latched the kitchen door. Lu Ho-Hat saw her like this, and was very displeased inside. Fine, when fourth brother comes back, remember to tell him to send the meat to my house. As she turned and walked away, Lu Ho-Hat's smile could no longer hold. Meanwhile, on the mountain, it was almost noon. You relied on the bit of memory from your past life, and after great effort, you found a wild dendrobium plant. With the experience of groping in the dark yesterday, by the time most of the roots were exposed, had already arrived. This one was much larger than yesterday's. Until dusk fell, you carefully, completely dug out that large plant. Just as you were about to go down the mountain and head home, you turned and bumped into a cicada. It seemed to be coming to eat the dendrobium. Seeing this, you quickly took out the hunting rifle you had traded for yesterday from your space. In just a breath, a gunshot exploded in the forest, startling flocks of birds to scatter and flee. At home, Lin Qingxue had finished cooking. After preparing milk powder for their daughter, but still not seeing you return, she frowned deeply. Dendrobium isn't that easy to find. Still have to make him learn a trade properly. Just as Lin Qingxue was lost in thought, you quietly entered the yard. Only when you took out the things from the basket did Lin Qingxue inside the room hear a sound. She came out holding their daughter. Wash your hands and eat. After saying that, she carried the daughter back inside. You noticed your wife glance into the basket, but didn't say anything. Once inside the house, you saw steaming hot food on the table. Your eyes grew hot, wishing you could go back to your past life and slap yourself silly. Such a beautiful and virtuous wife. How could you not have cherished her? You walked to the table and sat down, gulping down the food. Wife, I'll go to the village head's house later. These days, let's get the electric wires connected to our house. Hearing this, Lin Qingshue's hand patting the child paused. She couldn't help but speak. Electricity? That means from now on, we have to pay electricity bills every month. After saying that, she secretly glanced at you, afraid she would anger you, and you'd flip the table. You keenly caught Lin Qingshue's expression. Then you put down your chopsticks, walked to the door, and carried the basket into the room. Wife, this is what I dug up today. I'll sell it at the pharmacy in town another day. It should fetch a good price. Lin Qingxue stared directly at the dendrobium. She raised her eyes to look at you, and asked in disbelief, did you really dig this? Seeing this, you continued to explain, I swear I didn't steal or rob. This really is the result of a whole day's digging in the mountains. Lin Qingxue saw your calm face, only then nodded, half believing. During the day, our second sister-in-law came over. She wanted to borrow 5 gene of pork. Seeing Lin Qingxue with a long face, clearly unhappy, you guessed that since you weren't home, second sister-in-law had made her angry. So you said seriously, from now on, you run this household. The money and things are all under your control. If you don't want to lend, we won't lend. Your words made Lin Qingxue feel doubtful inside. After thinking for a while, she timidly said, I don't want to lend. Second sister-in-law says she'll borrow, but she definitely won't pay it back. It's not the first time she's borrowed from us. Never returned. Hearing Lin Qingxue's words, a gratified smile appeared on your face. You fondly tapped her nose. If you don't want to lend, we won't lend. We won't take her bullying. Your smile made Lin Qingxue stare blankly. Then she picked up their daughter and went into the inner room. After you had eaten your fill, you washed the bowls and chopsticks, then cut half a gene of meat, and went out in the dark. The village head, Wang Xuanju, saw. It was you, the dark-skinned one. His old face froze. Then seeing the meat in his hand, his wrinkled face broke into a smile like a flower. Jinghua, coming to find your uncle so late. What's the matter? He asked while taking the meat from your hand. I want to get electric lights in the house. If you have time, help arrange it. Okay, tomorrow I'll arrange it for you. Hearing his words, you didn't stay long, stood up to thank him, and turned to leave. But as you walked past the kitchen, you saw Lin Qingxue in the pitch-black kitchen, gnawing on the leftover meat bones you had eaten. This scene stung your eyes painfully. The blood in your whole body seemed to freeze. Then you said hoarsely, what are you doing? Hearing your voice, Lin Qingxue trembled in fear, and the bone near her mouth fell to the ground. Then she looked at you in the yard with a terrified face. Don't hit me. These are all leftovers you gnawed on. I just thought it was a shame to throw them away. At that moment, you felt like you'd been struck by lightning. You had never felt so defeated. Then with a thud, you knelt before her. Lin Qingxue screamed in fright. What do you want? Lin Qingxue's eyelids drooped slightly, looking at the man kneeling before her, until she felt her chest wet with warmth. She actually cried. Her long-sealed heart seemed to have loosened a little, and seeing that your wife was so scared even to eat your leftovers, it was like a knife stabbing deep into your heart. So you stood up from the ground, cupped your wife's fair cheeks, bowed your head, and kissed away the tears at the corners of her eyes. Wife, go to the main room and wait. I'll bring the food in when it's ready. You are my great benefactor. Lin Qingxue didn't understand these words. Shy, she slipped out of the kitchen as if she'd seen a ghost. In the kitchen, you busied yourself for a while, and a plate of fragrant stir-fried meat came out of the wok. He found the coarse grain buns that burned his throat, but his wife treasured them and couldn't bear to eat a single bite. But as soon as he entered the inner room, he saw a snow-white beautiful back come into view. In an instant, blood rushed to his abdomen. You stepped forward a few steps, pulling her into your arms from behind. Wife, don't leave me again. In the haze, Lin Qingxue feels for the first time that doing this thing is such a comfortable and pleasurable thing. This is the first time since their wedding night that they have slept together so closely. Thinking of last night's scene, Lin Qingxue's cheeks feel burning hot. Turning her face to see the child in the crib, Lin Qingxue suddenly turns pale with fright. Last night, it seems she didn't hear the daughter cry all night. Seeing his wife's sudden change, her eyes staring straight at the daughter, he quickly gets out of bed. In a few steps, he dashes to the daughter's crib, sees that the daughter is already awake, staring with 2 big eyes and smiling. At this moment, you look at your daughter. Your heart softens completely, carefully holding your daughter in your arms. Return to the bedside. Seeing your daughter is fine and still grinning, the heavy stone in Lin Qingxue's heart finally falls to the ground. Her tense nerves also relax. Then her eyes redden, nearly cries out, regretting how she could have slept so deeply last night. Such a small child. If anything had happened, how could he go on living? Wife, you lie down with Nyo a little longer. I'll go make you breakfast. Saying this, you grab the underwear thrown on the ground and pull it on directly. Lin Qingxue checks on the daughter. The diaper under her bottom. Although it's not arranged neatly, it is clean and fresh. No wonder she didn't hear the daughter cry last night. So this bastard got up to take care of the daughter. This is the first time since the child was born that she has actively taken care of the child. So has she really changed? Can she be trusted once more? On the other side, you busily work in the kitchen with skill, waiting for your wife to come out holding the child. The meal is also ready. Tofu, small greens, cornmeal paste, plus coarse grain buns. Bare-chested, you take the child from Lin Qingxue's arms. Wife, you go wash up first. But Lin Qingxue is a bit uneasy, but seeing you clumsy, Holding such a small child, she lets out a snort of laughter. This is your own daughter, not a tiger. How could she bite you? During the meal, village chief Wang Xuanzhu arrives with the electrician. As soon as they enter the yard, they see Lin Qingxue sitting at the table in the yard eating. You, bare-chested, holding the child, wandering in the yard. He notices a neat circle of teeth marks on the inside of your arm. Smiles meaningfully. Xinghua, you haven't finished eating yet? You didn't expect Wang Xuanzhu to have found someone so early. Then you bring the village chief and electrician to the gate outside the yard, chatting idly. After Lin Qingxue finishes eating and goes back inside, you then hand the child to your wife. Then from the pocket of your loose underwear, you pull out a pack of dojoanime cigarettes. The village chief looks at the dojoanime in his hand, grinning with a mouthful of yellow teeth. Says with a smile, you little rascal, you've made something of yourself. This pack costs 40 cents. The electrician beside him laughs even more naively, tucking the cigarette behind his ear. He carries the ladder and goes around to the back of the house. This job was worth it. A pack of 40-cent cigarettes. He himself usually can't bear to smoke. This family is quite generous. After the electricity is connected, you go back inside. Just as you step in, a piece of clothing flies towards you. Before you understand what's happening, you hear Lin Qingxue say, put on your clothes quickly. What's the point of being bare-chested? Now there are several scratch marks on your back. Those were left by Lin Qingxue last night. The village chief and electrician both saw them, but neither of them pointed it out. However, you know nothing. Wandering around bare-chested. This embarrasses Lin Qingxue so much. She wishes she could find a crack in the ground to crawl into. With outsiders present, she's too embarrassed to remind you. Until after you go up the mountain. Lin Qingxue covers her burning cheeks. Takes a good while to calm down. Only then does she take down the mattress pad to wash. She moves the child's crib to the yard, puts the child on it, fills the basin with water, prepares to wash the mattress pad. At this moment, Lin's mother arrives carrying a basket. Inside are eggs and a small piece of meat. Lin Qingxue sees her mother, quickly wipes her hands and stands up. Mom, why are you here? Lin's mother carries the basket into the kitchen. Her eyes move up and down over her daughter's body, seeing her worn out, ill-fitting clothes. Her eyes sting with tears. She quickly looks away. Picking up her granddaughter from the crib, she says, just finished up at home. I came to see you. As she speaks, her eyes look around the dilapidated three-room adobe-thatched house. She regrets constantly in her heart. She shouldn't have agreed to this marriage that seems so clear. She has ruined her daughter. Qingxue, Mom has thought it over. If you really can't live with him, then divorce him. You're young, and your life is still long. Your whole life can't be ruined by a scumbag like him. Lin Qingxue hears her mother's words. First stunned for a moment, sits on the stool for a long time without speaking. That day, you snatched the money she borrowed from her parents' home. Money meant to buy rice paste for the daughter. To buy alcohol. She truly felt utterly hopeless. Feeling that being with him, she could see no hope at all. Even the thought of death arose. At that time, she wanted to hold the daughter and jump into the reservoir. After you sobered up, first, you bitterly regretted. Slapped yourself a dozen times. Then, panicked, you went out to buy rice paste for the child. Over these past few days, she sees that you seem to have really changed. No longer go out carousing. No longer drink. No longer gamble. Lin's mother sees her daughter with head down, not speaking. Thinks she is worried about the child. Opens her mouth to say, if you want to take the child, Mom can help you raise her from now on. Saying this, she hesitates for a moment. But if you stay home and raise a child, it won't be easy to remarry. In these times, divorces are rare. No matter how bitter or hard life is, a woman must grit her teeth and carry on. Hearing that her own mother has even considered remarriage after divorce, has thought it all through for her, Lin Qingxue takes the child from her mother's arms. Mom, I'm not thinking of divorce right now. He now seems to be slowly changing for the better. As she says this, she tugs at the brand new little clothes on the child. It's clothes he earned money to buy for the child. He also bought a set for me, but I couldn't bear to wear it. Lin's mother watches. Her daughter's fair, young face, sporting a blush not seen in a long time, and her eyes seem to have lit up again. She can't help but be stunned for a moment. She had clearly overheard, just yesterday, Matzi next door saying that he owes 50 yuan to an outsider, such a large debt, and he doesn't do honest work. How can he ever repay it? Precisely because of this, she was worried and came early in the morning with things to check on her. But seeing her daughter's expression, it doesn't seem fake. If he has truly turned over a new leaf, she'll figure out a way for this debt. Even selling off everything, she must help him pay it off. Thinking of this, she does not tell you what she heard, afraid that he might cause trouble with you over it. She collects her thoughts. Red-eyed, she nods with relief. If he can change, that's good. Then Mom will be at ease. Saying this, she raises her hand to wipe the tears from the corners of her eyes. At this moment, you have just gone up the mountain, with a coarse grain bun in your mouth, calculating how much it would cost now to build a 2-story house. Based on the price of dendrobium you can dig up now, building the house would still leave a sum that, in this era, counts as considerable savings. After all, there aren't many 10,000 yuan households at this time. Thinking you'll definitely have to stay in the village for the next couple of years. First, improve the living conditions. The 3 dilapidated mud brick rooms the family lives in now. When you go inside, with your height, you feel you can't even straighten your back. Inside, the dust is terrible. Everywhere is crumbling. Really not a place for people to live. At this moment you have no idea at all that your mother-in-law is discussing with your wife whether to divorce or not. If you found out, you'd probably have no mind to go up the mountain, digging dendrobium recently. After all, living a second life, making money is important to you. But nothing is more important than wife and child. You know the ways to make money from your previous life. So naturally, you don't mind this moment. Seeing it's almost noon, Lin didn't even eat lunch. Hurried to head home, afraid that if she ate one more bite, her daughter would have one less bite. Lin Qingxue couldn't stop her. So she took down the hanging meat from the kitchen, cut off more than half with one slice, carried it, and chased after her. Mom, take this back to share with my brother and sister-in-law. Lin's mother saw such a big piece of meat, kept waving her hands, refusing to take it, afraid that if you found out she was subsidizing her natal family like this, you'd hit her daughter again. Even more afraid that her daughter would have nothing to eat and suffer. You keep it to eat. Our family doesn't lack this bite. Look how skinny you are. You need to eat more to nourish yourself. Otherwise, where will the child get milk? In the end, Lin's mother didn't take the meat, held her basket, and walked away step by step. Lin Qingxue stood at the door, watching helplessly as her mother walked farther and farther away, until she couldn't see her anymore. Only then did she carry the meat and turn into the kitchen. Zhang Guilin next door is about the same age as Lin Qingxue, but she married into the family 2 years earlier. She has dark skin, chewing on a raw radish in her hand, leaning over the wall. Sister, you never go out. It's all over town. Your second sister-in-law was taught a lesson by your second brother last night. Her cries were heard by several households. Lin Qingxue came out of the kitchen, sat down on a stool in the yard, answered half-heartedly. Zhang Guilin saw she wasn't talkative, pulled a stool, and sat down in front of her wash basin. Lowering her voice, she whispered that people outside are saying your second brother's debao isn't your second brother's. Hearing this, Lin Qingxue stopped her work immediately, looked up at Zhang Guilin. It's your big brother's seed. Zhang Guilin saw the confusion in her eyes, stuffed the leftover radish into her pocket. With a gossipy look, whispered in her ear. After hearing it all, Lin Qingxue was completely stunned. She really couldn't believe such a thing existed. She used to respect this big brother a lot, thought he was honest and reliable, fair in his dealings, very much like a big brother should be. But after hearing this, she felt somewhat uncomfortable inside. How could this happen? Zhang Guilin seemed quite satisfied with her reaction, patted this young wife from the city. All right, I need to go home and cook for my husband. Won't keep chatting. That night, you came back very late. This time when you returned, you saw the light on at home from far away. Couldn't help sighing inside. This electric light is indeed much brighter than the kerosene lamp. Seeing you back, Lin Qingxue quickly brought out the dishes and white flour buns kept warm in the pot. Set them out. Casually asked why you were so late today, noticing some mud stuck on you. She put down the dishes and started brushing the mud off you. You quickly stopped her, turned around, and bolted the main room door. Then from the pile of grass in the carrying basket, you fished out something. Carefully placed it on the table. I dug up some dendrobium. On the way back, I stumbled upon an unexpected find. You didn't tell your wife that it was because your foot slipped, and you fell down that you found this thing. It took a lot of effort to climb back up. That's why you're back so late. This thing's price now, not lower than dendrobium. Both sold by the gram. Counts as an unexpected small fortune. You figure, tonight you'll have a good time with your wife, and won't go up the mountain tomorrow. First go and sell the goods on hand. Lin Qingxue looked at the black-brown thing he placed on the table, shaped somewhat like ginger. This seems like something I've seen in a book. She asked uncertainly, is this fleece flower root? Her tone full of disbelief. You didn't expect your wife to be so knowledgeable. Most people in the village still don't know how precious this thing is. If they did, with so many good treasures on the mountain, they'd have been cleaned out long ago. Dendrobium and fleece flower root will be valuable for another 10 years or so. After that, when cultivation techniques improve, these can all be artificially grown and become common on the market. Then they won't be so rare. But even so, the price of wild rare medicinal herbs is still ridiculously high, because you simply can't get wild ones. You grin, showing a mouthful of white teeth. Pull your pretty wife into your arms in one go. Lower your head and peck her fair cheek. Meeting her bright eyes, you say, right? It's fleece flower root. Brother Ming will take you and the kid to town for a stroll, and sell these treasures to the pharmacy while we're at it. Hearing that they would take the child out, Lin Qingxue's body suddenly stiffened. Remembering what he said before about selling their daughter to that childless family in town, she still shudders inside. Who knows if they really can't have children, or if they're buying her as a child bride. She breaks free from his arms, refusing with caution and wariness. The daughter is still small. We too won't go. You go wash your hands and eat now. Quickly noticing something off with your wife, you had planned to take her out for a stroll and buy her some winter clothes while at it, but seeing her on alert again, clearly afraid that you're up to no good with the daughter. The terrible things you did. How could she easily let go of that knot? Trust was used up long ago. Can only take it slow. You take off your shirt covered in mud spots, open the door and walk out. Wash your face briefly, return to the room and sit down. Only then do you see the food on the table. A plate of golden scrambled eggs, and a small plate of leftover stir-fried meat from the morning. Did she not eat any dishes at noon? If she keeps skimping like this, when will she ever plump up? Looks like I need to earn more money quickly, so she can feel secure. Wife, where did these eggs come from? Lin Qingxue bows her head and ladles you a bowl of noodle soup. Not long after you left, my mother came by. She brought them. As for her mother bringing up divorce, she didn't mention it at all. Hearing that it was from your mother-in-law, you recall asking her for money to buy alcohol before, and feel too embarrassed to face her. You also didn't ask what your mother-in-law came for, thinking to yourself, once Brother Ming sells the stuff in hand, first pay back the money you took from your mother-in-law. You reach out and pull your wife over. Make her sit down. Eat quickly, you say, handing her a coarse grain bun. Your wife still can't bear to steam white flour buns. She steamed mixed coarse grain buns with half white flour. You pick up a cornflour bun yourself and wolf it down in big bites. Lin Qingxue took a small bite of the coarse grain bun. She looks up, secretly sizing up the man before her. If only he could always be like this, but she wonders how long this burst of warmth will last. The two are eating when a knock comes from outside. Fourth brother, it's me, early Uzi, come out. We're short one for mahjong. We're waiting for you to drink and play cards. Lin Qingxue hears the voice, and her face turns pale in an instant. Her eyes fix on you, staring wide, afraid you'll go back to the old ways. Following them out to drink and gamble. You hear the voice, and freeze for a moment. Then you remember who it is. You put down your chopsticks. Looking up, you see your wife's pale little face. You quickly get up and pull her into your arms. Wife, what's wrong? Are you not feeling well? Your voice is full of worry and concern. Lin Qingxue, held in your arms. Her slender, fair fingers grip tightly the vest on your chest. Her lips tremble slightly. Are you going to drink and play cards with them again? Hearing this, you finally understand why your wife is like this. She's afraid you'll fall back into your old habits. Resting your chin on her soft hair, your arms tighten unconsciously, holding her even closer. The body in your arms is painfully thin. Since marrying you, she hasn't had a single good day. Even a full meal has become a luxury. Yet despite all this, she still holds hope for you, wanting to settle down and build a life with you. You take a deep breath, forcing back the heat and sting in your eyes. In a low, hoarse voice, you console her. Don't worry, I'm not going. I'll send them away right now. I won't mess around with them anymore. Lin Qingxue, sitting sideways in your arms, upon hearing your words, looks up with a scrutinizing gaze fixed on you. She demands, really not going? You lower your eyes, meeting your wife's uneasy, questioning gaze. You wish you could show her your heart. Tell her you've truly turned over a new leaf. You can't help but peck her on the tip of her upturned nose. Your breath warm and clean. You promise, really not going. Don't worry, I'll make them leave. Then you gently set your wife back on the stool. All right, you keep eating. I'll be right back. You straighten up and notice the vest on your chest is still clutched tightly in your wife's hand. If you didn't know those three guys outside were no good, you want to take her with you. Let her see you turning them down so she could feel reassured. You lower your head, kiss the top of her head again. A gesture of comfort. Your rough, warm hand gently pats her thin back. Only then does she slowly let go. You straighten up and stride out with firm steps. At the courtyard gate, you open the wooden door. The few people at the door see you come out. That guy called Early Uzi smirks lewdly and makes a crude joke. Fourth brother, that's not right. Sister-in-law just finished her postpartum confinement, and you're already stuck in bed? It's been days, and you haven't come out for a drink with us. Hearing that filthy talk, your sharp brows carry a murderous edge. You roar, damn it, watch your mouth from now on. If you can't speak properly, shut your stinking trap. The other two were laughing along, but seeing your dark expression, they immediately stop smiling and try to smooth things over. Fourth brother, he's just got a loose tongue. Don't mind him. Come on, let's go drink. He reaches out to put an arm around your shoulder. You raise your hand and push his arm away. Out of the corner of your eye, you glance at the other two. If it's about drinking or playing cards, don't come looking for me anymore. I've quit. Seeing your attitude, the three of them look as if they've seen a ghost. They look at each other, completely dumbfounded. That Early Uzi, still wearing a sleazy grin, fearlessly continues to tease. Fourth brother, has the little sister-in-law got you tied to the bed? Since she's out of confinement, let us brothers have a turn too. Before he can finish, you kick him, landing on his chest, sending him sprawling on his back, groaning on the ground. You stride over and step on the space between his legs. Bending down, your dark eyes flash with ruthlessness, staring straight at the scumbag on the ground. Next time you spew filth, I'll sew both your upper and lower mouths shut, and break your third leg too. With that, you press down harder with your foot, grinding it. Early Uzi, lying on the ground, ignoring the pain in his chest, frantically pushes at your foot on his crotch, and wails, fourth brother, I was wrong. I won't talk nonsense anymore. The other two are scared out of their wits by this scene, speechless for a long time. Killing intent radiates from you, terrifying in the night. No one dares to step forward and mediate. They've been afraid of this guy since they were kids. When he fights, he's a ruthless, life-threatening force. But today, it's the first time they've seen him just get angry and become like a starving tiger about to eat someone, sending chills down their spines. Afraid that Early Uzi's howling might bring your wife out, and not wanting her to see this violent side of you, lest it scare her, or make her afraid of you again over such a trivial matter. That would be the end. You straighten up, glaring down at Early Uzi on the ground. You withdraw your foot. Get lost. The two of them, as if pardoned, quickly hoist Early Uzi up and say to you, fourth brother, we'll be going now. Once they're gone, you reign in the murderous aura. You step into the courtyard and bolt the door. Inside the house, Lin Qingxue, ever since you left, has been restless, on pins and needles. Every second felt unbearably long. Seeing that you haven't returned for a long time, her heart grows cold, though her stomach rumbles with hunger. With you not there, the steaming food on the table is something she can't bring herself to eat. In just these few days, watching you gradually improve, she unknowingly begins to hope again. She doesn't expect you to be rich or powerful, just hoping you'll live a stable life. But if you go back to drinking and gambling, what will she do? The child is so young. She can't possibly take him out to work. Will it really come to divorce? As she's lost in thought, she hears steady footsteps. Her eyes turn involuntarily toward the sound. She sees his tall figure stepping in from the moonlight. In that moment, Lin Qingxue's lifeless eyes suddenly light up. He actually didn't go out carousing with those scoundrels. She's still dazed. When you've already walked up behind her, you bend down and encircle her in your broad chest. Lower your head and kiss your wife's fair cheek. What's wrong, your man? Just stepped out for a moment. And you don't recognize me? Speaking, you hand her the chopsticks. You sit down at the table, pick up a coarse grain bun and wolf it down. Lin Qingxue is still in a daze and asks instinctively, really? You won't mess around with them anymore from now on? From now on, you won't hang around with them anymore. Reporting to my wife, ma'am. I've completely cut ties with them. I won't hang out with them anymore from now on. Lin Qingxue then nodded. She began to eat slowly and unhurriedly. During the meal, she stole glances at her man from time to time, seeing you eat very fast. But your table manners aren't bad. Along with that sharp-featured handsome face of yours, it actually becomes quite pleasant to look at. Back when she married him, besides the fact that he saved her life, actually, part of the reason was that he was handsome. At the time, she was simply captivated by his appearance. Plus, she was exchanging a marriage for her younger brother. So she ended up marrying him, who had nothing. You see your wife staring at you in a daze, not knowing what that little head of hers is mulling over. You add a golden piece of egg to her bun and tease with a grin. Wife, hurry up and eat. Later on the bed, I'll let you stare all you want. Your nonsense, snaps Lin Qingxue back to reality, seeing your roguish manner. After giving you a sharp glare, she blushes, lowers her head, and buries herself in eating. Having eaten your fill, you're in no hurry to leave. You lounge on the shabby stool, your eyes fixed straight on your wife. The more you look, the more you like her. Even though this era is materially scarce, food is poor, and there are hardly any cosmetics, her skin is still smooth and radiant, more beautiful than those celebrities who get injections. You notice your wife's knuckles turning red as she grips the chopsticks, so you grab her slender wrist and pull it up to your eyes. Thinking of the sheets drying outside, you plan to sell what you have in hand tomorrow and get a washing machine ticket from the speculators. In this era, many people still don't know what a washing machine is, let alone be willing to spend money on one. With a washing machine, your wife won't have to scrub clothes by hand. Lin Qingxue pulls her hand back. Being stared at by you makes her feel terribly shy. If you're full, go heat some water and wash yourself. You're covered in mud. You stand up and plant a kiss on your wife's cheek, then head to the kitchen to heat water. After you leave, Lin Qingxue sets down her chopsticks, touches her burning cheek. Ever since last night, this man has been hugging and holding her, and even steals kisses every so often. Every time he gets close, she can smell his masculine scent. She feels like a rabbit is kicking in her chest, thumping wildly. She can't figure out what's going on herself. After the meal, you take Lin Qingxue by the hand, saying you want to take her out for a walk. On the way back after digesting the food, you don't head home. Instead, you steer Lin Qingxue in a different direction. By the cowshed, a dilapidated mud house, with a simple earthen stove set up outside. Inside, the woman is clutching her chest, coughing nonstop. She takes a small handful of cornmeal and mixes it with water, pouring it into a chipped ceramic pot. After just these few steps, her face turns pale and large beads of sweat roll down her forehead. Just as she's feeling distressed, a half-gray-haired man strides over from not far away. He frowns, takes the water ladle from her, and tells her to go back inside and lie down properly, that he'll cook. The woman looks at him. The man hands her the half flatbread he got in trade. Good luck today. Traded for a flatbread. I ate half and brought the rest back. Eat it quickly. You'll get better faster if you eat. Have you eaten? The man doesn't hesitate at all, adds a handful of rice to the pot, squats down, and starts the fire. I've eaten, he says. The woman thinks about her own condition and hands the flatbread over. I'm not hungry. You finish it all. I've been lying down for half a day. Just want to drink something watery. The man tends the fire with his head down. Just eat when I tell you to. How will you get better without eating? The man keeps his head down, his eyes stinging. I ate my fill today. What about tomorrow? He doesn't care about his own body. Just that little bit of rice. He had to beg several villagers to trade for. She feels sorry for him, working all day without eating. He also feels sorry for her, suffering through this hardship with him in the countryside. He grips her hand. Don't overthink it. Just rest and get better. Tomorrow I'll go find medicine for you. I'll definitely cure you. Lin Qingxue finds it hard to watch. On the way back, she asks you about those two. You stay somewhat silent. How to say it? That man. You're not familiar with him either. But in your last life, you saw him on TV. The old man navigated the business world for many years. And after his death, he donated all his wealth. In his beloved's name, he established a medical charity foundation. His greatest regret in life was not protecting his beloved wife, watching her suffer from illness and pass away. You guess, based on your memories, that the disease which took his wife's life was likely this very illness. But you reckon that Madame Ying's illness was mainly caused by malnutrition. In that drafty cowshed, with nothing but thin gruel every day, even a minor illness can drag into a serious one. You plan to have your wife, a high school graduate, take the medicinal herbs, and also invest the money in this future big shot. At the very least, you'll have a tutor before the college entrance exam resumes. Early the next morning, before dawn, you lie down and open your eyes. You quietly climb out of bed, walk over to the small bed, carefully pick up your daughter, and gently place her beside your wife. You tuck the small quilt in properly. After cooking breakfast for your wife, you close the door from the outside and set out on the road. Today is market day. Although it's still early, there are already many pedestrians on the road. In these times, in the countryside, if a family owned a 28-inch bicycle, that was considered pretty well off. So most people still had to rely on their own two legs to get around. Relying on memories from your previous life, you find it in no time. That fairly large Chinese medicine shop. The middle-aged man with a square face sees what you've taken out, looks you up and down, then picks up the dendrobium and examines it carefully, seeing that it is actually wild dendrobium of the highest quality, each stalk perfectly intact. He can't help but feel some surprise inwardly. He gingerly places the dendrobium on the counter and tentatively asks what price you want. You tell him to name his price, not being polite, and directly state a number. You know in your heart that the other party will definitely haggle. Sure enough, as soon as the pharmacy manager hears your quote, he knows that this man is not easy to fool. He glances at your basket and invites you to the back courtyard. The two of them spend nearly an hour arguing in the back courtyard. In the end, you sell him 2 stalks of dendrobium. One he show wu, and some deer antler. You're quite satisfied with today's price. You pocket 50 10 yuan notes and leave the pharmacy. With money in hand, you head to the state-run department store. You want to buy a washing machine. When you ask the sales clerk, you're dumbfounded. You slap your forehead. Even though washing machines exist now, they're only used in hotels and laundromats, not yet in households. The first domestic washing machine was produced in 1978, and it hasn't been manufactured yet. But you unexpectedly managed to get a ticket for a 9-inch black and white TV. Without a second thought, you buy it. You also buy some oil, meat, and flour ration tickets. The speculator, seeing that you're a big spender, is especially enthusiastic toward you. I heard that you wanted to buy a TV that very day, so I helped find a friend who had a tractor. For 2 yuan, they could haul the goods to the village. You agreed without a second thought. Then, at the state-run department store, you bought your wife a solid, bright red sweater, pants, and leather shoes, and got the child several brand new little outfits. You also bought a few new cotton quilts, purchasing everything you could think of. It filled nearly half the cart. The tractor driver was stunned, unable to believe that this young man in shabby clothes had so much money, buying all this in one go. By the time you finished the big shopping spree, it was already afternoon. Back home, Lin Qingxue had woken up early, saw the child sleeping beside her. She didn't know when you had left. Lin Qingxue dragged her heavy, sore body out of bed, saw that you had risen early, and before leaving, had already prepared the meals neatly. On the table were golden eggs and sizzling, greasy pieces of meat. Lin Qingxue felt a stir in her heart. To say there was none would be a lie. Around noon, Wang Xuanzhu led a fresh-faced young girl through the door, sister-in-law of the 4th brother. This is the educated youth from the city, Li Tiantian. She'll be staying at your place from now on. Tell the 4th brother, clear out a room or 2 for her. Lin Qingxue was momentarily confused, suddenly having this young girl in the house. How could these 3 small adobe rooms accommodate everyone? One room for the couple, the main room for eating, and the other room piled with odds and ends. Where was there space for her? The village head isn't home. I can't decide on this. Wang Xuanzhu smiled, his face wrinkling up, and waved his hand at Lin Qingxue, not listening to her at all. He turned and said a few words to the young educated youth beside him, then strode away. If it weren't for that piece of meat that your husband gave me, how could I possibly have sent such a fresh, pretty young girl to his place? This batch of educated youth coming down totaled more than 20 people, most of them strong young men. Only one delicate little girl, and he had arranged her here, with the young couple living here. Sending a girl was better than sending a young man. After all, when it comes to doing things at night, a girl is far more convenient than a young man, and there's nothing to worry about. He was also not worried that someone would covet the pretty young wife. Left behind, Li Tiantian carried her canvas satchel and looked over these 3 dilapidated adobe houses, her heart sinking. The days ahead would probably be tougher than for any other educated youth sent to the countryside. The family Hong Mei was assigned to seemed to be living quite comfortably, a middle-aged couple with 3 children, all dressed neatly and brightly. On the road, she heard them say that for the family she was assigned to, the man was no good, drinking, gambling, and beating his wife. The household was dirt poor, barely able to keep the pot from boiling over. Before coming, she thought they were exaggerating, but now it seemed they hadn't exaggerated at all. This was the place. The mistress wore worn, ill-fitting clothes, but she was delicate and pretty, with fine features like someone stepping out of a painting. Not at all like a country woman. Lin Qingxue noticed that gaze, carefully sizing her up. She looked down at herself, wearing patched old clothes, then looked at the girl before her, dressed in a fashionable dacron dress, white socks, and little leather shoes, bright and stylish. She pretended not to mind the appraising look, and said, "Have a seat first. That room is a mess, full of odds and ends. I'll have to wait until my husband comes back to clear a space for you." With that, she turned and went into the house, fetched a thermos, and poured a bowl of water for the guest. Li Tiantian nodded awkwardly and sat down on a stool in the yard. She thought to herself, she had to find a way to get a notice for returning to the city as soon as possible. She didn't want to stay in this rotten place a single day longer, especially staying in the home of a local thug. She'd have to be careful from now on, not let this thug take advantage of her. Lin Qingxue had planned to just make do with a simple lunch, but now that the new educated youth had arrived, she had to roll up her sleeves and start cooking. Li Tiantian thought that since she would be living here, she couldn't freeload, so she washed her hands and went into the kitchen to help. "Sister-in-law, how about I tend the fire?" she said as she entered the kitchen, but froze. The shabby kitchen was actually clean and tidy, and hanging from the beam was a big piece of meat. Who said this family was too poor to keep the pot boiling? If they can't afford food, how can they eat meat? And such a big piece at that. Lin Qingxue was bent over kneading dough, heard Li Tiantian's words, looked up and said, "No need for your help. If you're free, just keep an eye on the child in the yard for me." Li Tiantian nodded and left the kitchen. She went to the little bed and looked at the child lying there, as fair as a porcelain doll, with an endearing face. She bent down to play with the child, wondering to herself, the mistress was about her age, so fair and pretty. Why did she marry so young? How could she have taken a liking to such a worthless man? And a thug at that. Could it be that she was forced by that thug, and had no choice but to marry him? At the thought of this, Li Tiantian felt a shudder. The more she thought, the more frightened she became, wondering if she should go to the village head's house and ask him to change her assignment. Even if the new place was poorer, as long as the man there was honest. In the kitchen, Lin Xingxue was busy cooking, little knowing the drama unfolding in the heart of the educated youth outside. Soon, a steaming hot bowl of noodles was ready. Lin Xingxue came out carrying the bowl of noodles and called out, "Comrade, come have some noodles first." Li Tiantian snapped out of her thoughts and looked at the noodles floating with oil droplets in the bowl on the table. Pausing for a moment, she quickly said, "My name is Li Tiantian. Sister-in-law, just call me Tiantian from now on." Lin Xingxue nodded and didn't say much more. Around 4 in the afternoon, the tractor rumbled into the village and, following your directions, stopped at your doorstep. Lin Xingxue, who was husking corn in the yard, suddenly heard a commotion outside, hurriedly put down her work, stood up, and walked to the door, just in time to see you jump nimbly down from the tractor. Her heart was full of questions. Why was he coming back on that rattling tractor? Before she could ask, the tractor driver shouted out, "Young man, with so much stuff, can your home fit it all?" With that, he went around from the front to the back and carefully moved the TV aside, afraid of damaging it. You strode up and carried the TV down from the cart in one go, grinning at the tractor driver, and said, "There's plenty of room in the future." Lin Xingxue, standing nearby, was stunned by the scene before her and asked blankly, "Did you buy all this?" Her voice full of disbelief. "So many things, plus that TV. How much did it cost? How many ration coupons?" You saw your wife's fair, pretty face. Her eyes fixed and wide. So you walked up and touched her cheek, understanding that she was worried about the money. But you didn't care about such a small amount. You just wanted your wife to enjoy a good life from now on. Never let her suffer again. You leaned close to Lin Xingxue's ear, muttering softly, "I'll tell you in detail later. You stand to the side for now. Don't get hurt. I'll unload the things first." Lin Xingxue hears your words and shuffles to the side like a puppet, watching each item unloaded from the cart, piled up like a small mountain. Regret floods her heart. If she had known, she would have held the baby and gone to town with you. How much money did this cost? How could she be so bad at managing the household? Where did the money and ration tickets come from? Who in an ordinary family can afford a TV? The electricity bill alone would be a lot. Such reckless spending. Li Tiantian, standing in the corner, holds the baby in her arms, her eyes fixed on the tall, broad-shouldered, long-legged young man. He was the village ruffian. She had thought you'd be ugly, coarse and vulgar. Never imagined you'd have deep-set features, a handsome face. She'd rarely seen such a good-looking man in her life. Her heart pounds wildly. Now Li Tiantian understands why a beauty like Lin Xingxue married so young. Turns out, this man is even better looking than Wang Xingang in the movies. The things are unloaded. You reach into your pocket and pull out 2 yuan, handing it to the tractor driver. The driver takes the money, waves, and drives the tractor away. You start moving things into the yard. Your wife wants to help, but you won't let her, telling her to sit and rest. You don't even notice the strange woman who's appeared in the house. Zhao Zhenxing comes rushing over at the news. Seeing the pile of stuff at his brother's door, he's stunned. This lazy bum. Where did he get so much money to buy all this? He's dirt poor, with nothing in the house to sell. Could he have sold the child? Thinking that, Zhao Zhenxing quickens his pace. When he reaches the door, he catches sight of his little niece in the female educated youth's arms. And only then does he feel relieved. Zhao Zhenxing doesn't say a word, and silently helps carry things into the yard, staring at that heavy iron lump. Once powered on, it produces images and sound. A bunch of ants fighting on it. So lively, like watching a movie. Curiously, he circles it a few times, too embarrassed to reach out and touch it. He's heard this thing is precious, costing several hundred yuan. So this is what city folks call a television. Never thought his own brother would bring one home. The only one in the whole village. After everything is put in order, Zhao Zhenxing pulls you aside at the gate, asking where you got so much money. You calmly pat your chest and say, all of it came from hunting, selling game on the black market. You don't tell your elder brother about the dendrobium. It's not that you don't trust him, but dendrobium grows on cliffs. And even if you told him, he couldn't help. If word gets out, it would cut off your own income. When spring comes and it warms up next year, you'll take your elder and second brothers up the mountain to find a few good spots, show them the tricks. And from then on, it's up to each of them. Zhao Zhenxing thinks he should persuade you to just farm properly. But looking at his younger brother before him, eyes shining, exuding a shrewdness and depth he'd never seen before, like a different person, even the elder brother feels he doesn't recognize you. Thinking that your elder brother rarely comes, you hint at your plan to build a house. You want to ask for his help, offering to pay him 1 yuan per day for his work. Zhao Zhenxing takes a puff of his cigarette, saying, if you're not being foolish, he'd do it for free. Why would he need wages? But building a house is no joke. It costs a lot of money. Brother, I have the money. I'll pay you the wages. Even brothers keep clear accounts. Please find me a skilled craftsman and use good materials. Let's move into the new house before winter. Zhao Zhenxing nods. He thought the fourth brother just wanted to repair the 3 thatched rooms. Who knew he'd be so bold as to build 2 stories? The reason you handed all these matters over to your elder brother is that you're busy as a bee, planning to harvest all the dendrobium before winter. If you come across wild herbs like Hisho Wu, you can sell them for money too. If you run into a sick deer, get some deer antler velvet and deer penis. That would be a real steal. Seeing that it's still early, the 2 brothers decide to go find Wang Xuanshu. During the planned economy era, you needed a permit to buy bricks for building. Wang Xuanshu, as village chief, held immense power in those days. You gave him a pack of dojoanime cigarettes and stuffed him a yuan and smoothly got the brick purchase permit. With permit in hand, you head straight to the commune brick factory, placing the order for the bricks. Zhao Zhenxing is puzzled. How thick a wall is the fourth brother planning to build? Why order so many bricks? You tell him you're building 2 stories. Zhao Zhenxing watches you pull out 2 10 yuan notes. Hand them to the brick factory boss without batting an eye. Zhao Zhenxing winces at the expense. Then he hears you say the rest of the money will be settled when the bricks are delivered home. Zhao Zhenxing's eyes widen, finding it utterly unbelievable. Those were 10 yuan notes, not toilet paper, just casually stuffed into the pocket like that, not afraid of losing them. Zhao Zhenxing realizes that this degenerate gambling fourth brother of his now carries himself with such authority in front of outsiders, looking more like a leader than the brick factory manager. Standing there, he inspires awe without anger. If he changed into a blue cotton coat without patches, people would believe he's the son of some official. If not for the black mole on his neck and the knife scar from past fights on his hand, Zhao Zhenxing would wonder if the fourth brother had been secretly swapped. On the way home, Zhao Zhenxing feels lightheaded, dazed. The fourth brother is indeed the fourth brother, but something feels off. When they're almost home, you pull 5 10 yuan notes from your shirt pocket, hand them over. Elder brother, except for the timber, please take care of all the other materials. Zhao Zhenxing reaches out to take them, then feels his hands are a bit dirty. He wipes them on the hem of his clothes. Before accepting the money, carefully, he tucks the money into his inner pocket, afraid of accidentally losing it. Zhao Zhenxing earnestly says, with so much money, you trust me, your elder brother. I'll make sure everything is handled perfectly. You nod. You're my elder brother. Why wouldn't I trust you if it weren't for you and your wife looking after things? Considering the grievances my wife suffered in the past life, I might not even have had a daughter. She'd have been lost because of my own actions. In the main room of the Zhao house, Lin Qingxue is sorting through the things you bought. She takes a square scarf from the cabinet, drapes it carefully over the TV, afraid a speck of dust might dirty it. Why did you buy this thing? She thinks. The power goes out all the time in the village, and you have to set up an antenna when there's no signal. The screen is full of snow, but seeing how excited you are, she doesn't have the heart to complain about your spending. She found you bought things for her and her best friend again. There were women's sweaters, pants, and leather shoes, and a few sets of clothes for her best friend. Why is this person spending money recklessly again? Who buys new clothes every day? That jacket you bought her last time in the market town. She hasn't worn it yet, can't bear to wear it, and now you bought her so many clothes again. But seeing you care about mother and child, Lin Qingxue is still very happy. She picks up the light, soft, and thick cotton quilt, about to put it in the box. Can't help but shed tears. This is even better than the new cotton quilt she had when she married into Shirtan. After tidying everything up, Lin Qingxue found that this man didn't buy anything for himself, but his shirt was patched over patches, and his shoes even had holes in them. Li Tiantian was helping hold the daughter, staring longingly at those new clothes, scratching her ears and cheeks, like a cat seeing a fish. That V-neck sweater is the latest fashion in the city. She wanted to buy it when window shopping, but her parents absolutely disagreed, spending nearly half a month's salary on a sweater, seeing clothes she wanted to buy but couldn't afford, appearing here in more than one piece. Li Tiantian was envious, jealous, and resentful. Lin Qingxue's husband was handsome and talented, and especially willing to spend money on his wife. Moreover, he knew how to cherish her. When moving things, he couldn't bear to let her lift a finger, afraid she would get tired. Cherished her like the apple of his eye. How could the village spread such a good man as a lazy bum? It's utter nonsense. You strode in quickly from outside. As soon as you entered the door, you saw a strange young woman, holding the child standing there, smiling warmly at your own wife. Is this your friend? After Li Tiantian noticed your gaze, she lowered her eyelids slightly, didn't dare meet your eyes, although she considered herself a city person, and always looked down on these country folk. But ever since this man came back on the tractor, dusty and weary, though she had been standing right there, his eyes and heart only had room for his young wife, a living person standing there. He never even gave her a single glance from start to finish. Lin Qingxue was busy with her work. Hearing your question, she only then realized there was an extra person in the house. That female educated youth had been quiet all along. She hadn't wanted to be in the way, and was too busy tidying up the things you bought, so she had completely forgotten about her. Lin Qingxue quickly, apologetically, took the child from Li Tiantian's arms, said to you, this is the educated youth sent down by the team leader. She said she wants to stay with us temporarily. What do you think? Should we tidy up the West room and free it up for her to stay? Her tone carried a hint of consultation. Although you said he was the head of the household, she still didn't dare decide on her own, afraid of making a mistake. As soon as you heard an outsider wanted to stay, your brow furrowed slightly involuntarily. You really didn't want any stranger to disrupt the peaceful life you and your wife had. But when you saw the hopeful look in your wife's eyes, the words of refusal just couldn't be uttered. Afraid she might think you were disregarding her wishes, you didn't say a word. First, you pulled your wife into the inner room, took off your outer jacket. Then from a hidden pocket, you took out the money left from selling dendrobium, handed it to her. Next, you took the child from Lin Qingxue's arms, played with her, told her about your plan to build a new house. Lin Qingxue took the money from your hand. Looking at the brand new 10 yuan notes in her hand, she felt somewhat incredulous. After buying so many things, there was still so much money left. 2 stalks of dendrobium, 1 piece of polygonum multiflorum, and that deer antler velvet, worth so much money from the roadside. When you brought up the idea of building a house, Lin Qingxue quickly put the money away. Under your eager gaze, she carefully hid the money securely, then fell into a brief silence. If they didn't build a house, the money from these 2 times would be enough. for the three of them to live comfortably for several years. A stable and peaceful life. But if they did build a house, this money would likely be far from enough. They would also have to owe a huge debt. Her younger brother from her natal family had been helping their family a lot these past 2 years. Now he has his own child to support. How could she bear to ask him for money again? Lin Qingxue was pondering. You seem to have seen through her thoughts. Suddenly you kissed her on her fair, tender cheek. Wife, don't worry about money. I'll handle it. You just rest at home. Don't tire yourself out. The sudden soft, warm touch on her cheek made Lin Qingxue's face instantly turn completely red. She cast you a seductive glare. Whispered, what are you doing? There are people outside. You have no shame. Your face is as thick as a copper wall. You just grinned at Lin Qingxue. In your past life, you were worth a fortune. You had been to every kind of occasion. Saying that, you leaned down again, lowered your head and lightly bit her red, full lips, looking at your wife's fair, pink flushed cheeks. Your heart melted. You're a mother now. Why are you still so shy? You stopped teasing her. Got back to the main topic. Said, tomorrow Big Brother will order the materials and bring them back. In case he doesn't have enough money. When he asks you for some, don't forget to give it to him. Lin Qingxue silently nodded. But she felt a bit uneasy in her heart. She remembered what the neighbor next door had said about Big Brother and second sister-in-law. Now when she sees Big Brother, she feels uncomfortable. You were sharp-eyed and noticed your wife's expression was off. Leaning close, you pressed against her cheek and asked, what's wrong? Wife, don't keep things bottled up. Lin Qingxue thought for a moment, then shook her head, said nothing. Seeing your wife didn't want to talk, you didn't press further. Meanwhile, Li Tiantian stood in the main room, faintly heard Lin Qingxue's reminder about there being people outside. Her face turned as red as a monkey's bottom. She tiptoed to the middle of the yard, breathing fresh air, as if possessed. She stopped her steps to go ask the team leader for a different place to stay. The man of this house didn't seem as bad as the villagers outside made him out to be. When the young sister-in-law was organizing things just now, she had been holding the child, standing there, and saw everything clearly. Those items were mostly for household use, plus clothes for the child and the young sister-in-law. But there was nothing for the man himself. While Li Tiantian stood in the yard lost in thought, the little daughter you were rocking in your arms had already fallen fast asleep. Her exquisite little face wore a peaceful expression. You gently turned around, softly placed the sleeping little princess on the bed, carefully pulled up the quilt. Then Lin Qingxue came out of the room, said to Li Tiantian, tonight, I'm afraid we'll have to impose on you. Just make do for now. The West Room has a lot of stuff piled up. Big Brother might not be able to clean it all up at once. Li Tiantian heard Lin Qingxue's words, turned her head, saw that her cheeks were flushed. Couldn't help but think of what she had faintly overheard earlier. The conversation between the couple in the room. Her face felt hot, quickly averted her gaze from her eyes. No imposition. Sorry to trouble you and Big Brother. Li Tiantian quickly said. Lin Qingxue smiled at Li Tiantian and shook her head, said, as long as you don't mind our poverty. As she spoke, she bent down to move the daughter's small wooden bed to her east room. You want to move your daughter's small wooden bed to your own east room. Seeing this, you rush over to help. Wife, let me carry this. Be careful not to strain your back. Lin Qingxue smiled. She turned and went to the west room, wanting to help tidy up as well. You, working with your shirt off, were repeatedly asked by your wife to put on a white undershirt. Your arms, with clearly defined muscles, were left exposed, exuding a certain energy. The vest covered your broad back, hiding the scratch marks of varying depths. You had no idea why your wife wanted you to wear the vest. You just hoisted a few bamboo rakes and planned to move them to the yard. You had barely started working when you saw your wife roll up her sleeves and come in. You quickly tried to stop her. Wife, you don't need to help with this. It's really dusty in here. Go outside and stay in the yard. You said this, but saw Lin Qingxue wouldn't listen. In a moment of worry, you put down the fence you were holding and pushed her out. Your heart ached for her. With all this dust, how could you let her come in and help? If it weren't for the upcoming house construction and the fact that a bunch of men would be coming and going, you wouldn't have let this female educated youth stay in the house. But then again, having Li Tiantian stay had its benefits. When you went up the mountain to hunt and gather dendrobium, she could keep your wife company and help relieve her boredom. Li Tiantian saw you push Lin Qingxue out. She couldn't help covering her mouth and teasing, sister-in-law. Brother really cares about you. Hearing Li Tiantian's words, Lin Qingxue's face flushed. She smiled shyly and didn't respond. This man really, he had changed. As long as he was home, he wouldn't let her lift a finger. Even the hot water for her evening wash, he would boil and bring it to her in the room. These days, she truly felt carefully cared for, but it was too good. So much so that it felt unreal. She even felt a bit anxious, afraid that your novelty would wear off, and you'd go back to how you were before. Her heart was in knots every day, living in fear of losing what she had. Her spirits were now constantly stretched tight, greedily hoping this good life would last a little longer. So she spoke and acted with extra care, afraid of displeasing you. At mealtime, watching you hand her white flour buns, while you ate coarse grain buns with big bites. It was you who said coarse grain buns tasted bad, and you who asked her to make white flour buns. But once they were made, you wouldn't touch them, leaving them all for her. Really, she could eat anything. As long as he settled down and stopped hanging around outside, she'd be content. Lin Qingxue still couldn't figure out how you suddenly became so good. Before, he had done terrible things while drunk. After sobering up, he'd hold her and apologize, kneel on the ground and swear solemn oaths. Each time after a drunken frenzy, he would indeed restrain himself a bit, but that would only last 2 or 3 days. Then he'd revert to his old self and go out gallivanting again. She had never seen him like this before. cooking, boiling water, and even coaxing the child. He had bought the child a full set of clothes and shoes. Lin Qingxue saw it all clearly in her heart, constantly reminding herself to stay sober and not fall headlong into this sweet whirlpool. What if one day the dream ended, and reality was different from now? What would she do then? But you had no idea of the twists and turns in your wife's heart. Seeing that dusk was falling, you finally finished tidying up the West Room. That room was made of earth and tiles, always piled with junk, never lived in. The newspapers on the walls were rotten, like cobwebs, crumbling at the slightest touch. Although you had cleaned it, there was still a lot of dust inside. You quickly built a small bed with wooden planks, completing the task your wife had given you. Lin Qingxue saw you walk out dripping with sweat, and hurriedly picked up a towel to hand to you. Wipe yourself off quickly. Dinner will be ready soon. You didn't reach out to take it. Your tall, fit body bent slightly, bringing your strong, handsome face close to your wife's, and said, with warm breath, "Wife, will you wipe it for me?" Hearing your words, Lin Qingxue instinctively glanced at Li Tiantian, who was carrying things into the house. After Li Tiantian went inside, she stood on tiptoe and raised her hand to wipe the sweat from your forehead, and didn't forget to remind you, there's a guest in the house. From now on, when you get up in the morning to use the toilet, don't go bare-chested anymore. Wear some shorts at least, so the young lady won't feel embarrassed. Your dark, bright eyes, fixed on your wife so close to you, watching her wipe so carefully, and reminding you of these small matters, made your heart feel warm, although you felt it was a bit awkward, not being able to go shirtless in your own home. Seeing your wife's earnest expression, you curled your lips, and gave a light peck on Lin Qingxue's rosy lips. A quick kiss. You agreed readily. Whatever you say. Lin Qingxue, startled by this sudden intimate move, turned red from her face to her ears. It would have been fine if it were just the two of them, but now there was an unmarried young woman in the house. How shameless. Flushed, Lin Qingxue said to you, "Stop dawdling. Go wash your hands and eat." She turned and went into the kitchen. You watched the back of your wife fleeing, and grinned widely. Your handsome face was filled with a satisfied smile. You walked to the well, and drew up a bucket of cold water. You splashed your face with the water. You were covered in sweat, and your skin felt sticky, very uncomfortable. You looked around, and saw that you were alone in the yard. You took off your small vest, and poured the cold water from the bucket straight over your head. It felt wonderfully cool. Unexpectedly, Li Tiantian happened to come out of the house, and saw the scene. She saw the man, his back to her, revealing his robust physique, muscles well proportioned, clearly defined, and marked with a few scratch marks. Li Tiantian felt her cheeks burn. She whirled around, and went back inside the house. This rammed earth house had no soundproofing, was pitch dark and filled with dust everywhere. Tiantian couldn't stand staying another day. Lin Qingxue heard the sound of splashing water, and came out carrying a dish. She caught sight of you, bare-chested, soaking wet, as if you had just been pulled out of the water. Anger immediately flared up inside her. She put the dish down on the stone table in the yard, came over, grabbed your arm, and pulled you toward the house. As she pulled you, she grumbled, "This cold weather. What if you get sick?" You let your wife drag you inside, listening to her complaints, but your heart felt warm. You knew she was genuinely worried about you. Once inside the inner room, Lin Qingxue picked up a small blanket used for the child, stood on tiptoe, and carefully wiped the water from your head. She was so focused she didn't even blink, and kept scolding you, "Lower your head. Hurry up." She didn't even notice that you were watching her with a foolishly happy smile. Hearing your wife's words, you quickly spread your legs apart, and obediently lowered your head, letting your wife wipe you. "Wife, wear the new clothes tomorrow, okay? I want to see you." At these words, Lin Qingxue's movements paused slightly. She didn't say anything. When she felt his hair was about dry, she moved behind him, and carefully wiped the water from his back, inch by inch. Looking at the marks on his back, her face had not a single trace of resentment. She clearly wasn't like this before. Thinking of all this, Lin Qingxue's heartbeat became chaotic. He tossed the small blanket into your arms, told you to wipe yourself in front. After wiping clean, change your pants and come out to eat. Lin Qingxue lifted the cloth curtain and came out, running right into Li Tiantian coming out of the West Room. They exchanged smiles. Neither said a word, in tacit understanding. 3 mud-tiled rooms, a place no bigger than a palm. What was said in the East Room could be heard clearly in the West Room. Li Tiantian couldn't sit, couldn't stand either. Felt uncomfortable all over. If this were nighttime, wouldn't I be like being roasted over a fire? You changed into another pair of pants, put on a gray shirt over your upper body, strode out with big steps. You sat on the stone pier beside your wife and glanced around. The eggs scrambled that morning on the stone table were almost untouched. 8 pieces of meat, not one missing. You frowned as you looked. "Wife, did you not eat breakfast this morning?" Lin Qingxue had just picked up her chopsticks, looked up to see your dark face and frown. Her heart gave a sudden lurch. Her hand trembled, and the chopsticks clattered to the ground. He was instantly crushed, showing his true colors so soon. He had thought he could last a little longer this time. The dream ended so fast. He put down the other chopstick, avoiding your gaze, took a deep breath, ate half a bun and 2 pieces of egg. His voice was calm, but his hand clutched the worn-out outer shirt tightly, his whole body trembling. The sound of chopsticks hitting the ground snapped you back to reality. You sensed something wrong. Took a closer look. Lin Qingxue's eyes were red-rimmed, wet, like apricots washed by rain. Your heart tightened. Panic set in immediately. You were just worried she wouldn't eat enough. Never thought your tone would be too harsh. Scaring her, you reached out to hold her, but she dodged away. You panicked even more. A big man over 6 feet tall crouched in front of his wife, his face full of alarm. "Wife, I was just a bit anxious. I really didn't mean to be harsh." Your tone softened. Lin Qingshua's grievances could no longer be held back. Tears fell in drops, pattering down. She had been truly frightened just now, thinking you had turned back into that violent-tempered demon who would raise a hand to beat people. Your heart ached terribly. You lifted her by the waist and quickly walked into the east room. Li Tiantian had just sat down on the stone stool, a look of bewilderment on her face. What on earth just happened? Now she was the only one left in the yard. Inside the room, you looked at the person in your arms with pain. Her eyes were red from crying, delicate. The tip of her nose was flushed. Your heart felt as if twisted by a knife. Lowering your head, you kissed her eyelids. You said softly, "Wife, I'm sorry. I really was wrong. I was just afraid you wouldn't be willing to eat enough. I got anxious and that's why I spoke harshly. I'm busy outside all day and can't always watch you eat." In a moment of impatience, my tone got heavy. Lin Qingxue gradually felt a little more at ease. She also thought she had been a bit too much just now. Recently spoiled and protected by him, she had become delicate. Everything was out in the open now. She felt even more embarrassed. Her fair fingers tightly gripped the shirt on his chest. Her eyelids slightly lowered, biting her lower lip. Without saying a word, just then, you said out of nowhere, "Wife, what's wrong with you?" Following the direction of his finger, Lin Qingxue only then noticed she was probably leaking milk. Before he could reply, you thought of the Christian carp tofu soup and venison you'd been making lately, and asked, "Is our daughter getting enough to eat these days?" Lin Qingxue's fair face flushed bright red, like a fully ripe persimmon. She broke free from his arms, turning her back to you. She said, "You go out first." Her voice trembled slightly. These past days, she drank Christian carp soup every day. Not sure if it really worked. These 2 days the baby has been breastfeeding, no longer drinking formula. But even so, there was still plenty of milk. It hurt from swelling during the day. Last night, that shameless man even drank some. So today it wasn't so uncomfortable. But still, she was leaking milk. His face flushed red. He lowered his head to unbutton, completely unaware that you were staring straight at his movements, gazing with longing, eyes wide open. Lin Qingxue had just taken off her outer shirt. Only then did she notice this shameless man, staring right at her. She instantly felt both shy and annoyed. "What are you doing? Get out quickly, I need to change clothes." You had no intention of leaving. Instead, your head moved a little closer. "Wife, the child is asleep. You must be uncomfortable with the swelling. Let me handle it," he said. Without giving Lin Qingxue any chance to react, Li Tiantian sat on the stone stool outside, propping her chin on one hand. The sky had already darkened. The stars and moon had come out, but the couple still hadn't come out. She didn't dare barge in to look, so she could only wait. After a long while, the two came out of the room. Li Tiantian noticed that her sister-in-law's eyes were moist at the corners, her cheeks rosy, her lips a vivid, dripping red. Had she been comforted, then? Lin Qingxue saw Li Tiantian staring at her, thinking of what had just happened. Her face burned intensely. She sat down, picked up chopsticks, and handed them to Li Tiantian. "Let's eat." Then took another pair and handed them to the man beside her. "After you sat down, you didn't spare Li Tiantian even a single glance the whole time. You picked up a fine flour bun and placed it in your wife's hand, grabbed a coarse grain bun for yourself, and took big bites. In your mind, you were thinking of finding time to go to the reservoir, to catch a few Christian carp to nourish your wife." Lin Qingxue had no idea what the man was thinking. She worried Li Tiantian might feel awkward, and handed her a fine flour bun. "Eat, don't be polite. Make yourself at home." Li Tiantian took a small bite, and wondered to herself, was this family poor or rich? If poor, they ate fine flour buns. The dishes were scrambled eggs and meat. Even in the city, this standard wouldn't be inferior. In the morning, the team leader's family ate black corn buns with pickled radish. If rich, they lived in 3 mud brick rooms. Apart from what was bought today, not even a decent piece of furniture, not even a TV. The bed she slept on was just a few wooden boards randomly put together. When she made the bed, she was afraid it would collapse if she turned over at night. Oh right, during the day, she heard him tell the tractor driver he was going to build a house. So this old house would be torn down. Then there wouldn't even be a place to stay. So why did he still keep her here? It was clear. In this big brother's eyes, besides his sister-in-law, there was no room for anyone else. He clearly didn't like her staying here. Just as her thoughts were wandering, a child's cry came from the room. The next second, you stood up, telling Lin Qingxue to keep eating, and strode quickly into the house, turned on the light, and picked up the daughter who had woken up in the small bed. Lin Qingxue put down her chopsticks, reached out to take the baby. You avoided her. "You eat first. I'm not hungry yet. I'll eat later." Lin Qingxue naturally knows. He said he wasn't hungry, so she would eat first, coming back from outside, and busy cleaning up the clutter. How could he not be hungry? But she didn't call him out. Picks up the chopsticks and continues eating. Li Tiantian lowers her eyes, takes small bites of the bun, sneaking glances at how the couple interacts, unconsciously comparing it to her own family. Her 2 brothers, when they come back from work, hardly touch the children. When the children cry, it's the sisters-in-law who comfort them first, holding a child in one arm, eating with difficulty in the other hand. But this big brother here walks back and forth in the yard holding the child, soothing him, which she finds incredible. Lin Qingxue finishes eating quickly, takes the child from the man's arms, and goes back into the house. As soon as he leaves, Li Tiantian secretly looks up at the young man across from her. She sees him take big bites of the bun with egg, his handsome face showing no expression, cold and distant. This is completely different from when the young sister-in-law is around. Li Tiantian finds it a bit unsettling. Cannot sit still. Stammers, "Big brother, I'm full." She clears the bowls and chopsticks, takes them to the kitchen, washes them quickly, and returns to the west room, not daring to come out again. It's completely dark. You sit alone in the yard. Eat the remaining 4-course grain buns. Finish the noodle soup before you're full. Then you heat a pot of water. Carry the basin back into the house. Wife, remember to wipe yourself down. I'm going to the outhouse. You set the basin on the stand and walk out. Lin Qingxue closes the door, takes off her clothes, bathes with the hot water. Just as she finishes washing and dresses, she faintly hears a sound behind the house. She thinks she misheard. The next second, a man's voice comes from outside. Good little sister, are you taking a bath? Lin Qingxue's hair stands on end. Screams loudly. You outside the house, just pull up your pants. Hear the scream. Walk out quickly. Catch the person who flings herself into your arms. Hold her tightly. Lower your eyes and ask what's wrong. Lin Qingxue wraps her arms tightly around your waist, her body trembling. Someone was behind the house, just now. You raise your dark eyes. Look over the yard wall. Sure enough, see a head. Hurrying away. In an instant, your deep eyes fill with terrifying rage. You withdraw your gaze. Look at the person in your arms wearing only undergarments. Lift her by the waist. Place her on the bed. Come out of the bedroom. Instruct Li Tian, who stands at the west room door. Watch her for me. I'm going out. You say no more. Stride out of the yard on long legs. Your tall, straight figure disappears into the night. At the house of Air Lizzie in the east of the village, the neighbors hear Air Lizzie's miserable screams and the dull thud of fists hitting flesh. Their hearts trembling. They all know you're a troublemaker, a ruthless person at heart. Don't know how Air Lizzie provoked you. Judging by the sound, you're going all out. Really afraid he'll be beaten to death. Fourth brother, I was wrong. I went to see the educated youth Li Tian, but I really didn't see anything. Hearing Air Lizzie beg for mercy, you directly dislocate his jaw. What nonsense are you talking? Aren't you craving meat? Go eat some meat then. Fourth brother, I was wrong. Air Lizzie doesn't even have the strength to crawl up and kneel. Truly afraid you'll beat him to death. For a moment, you really want to cripple him. But thinking of Lin Qingxue and your daughter, you don't hit as hard. Lin Qingxue lies on the bed, not knowing how long passes. Hears the sound of splashing water in the yard, and knows you're back, taking a cold bath. After about 10 minutes, hears the door open and close. In the dark, thinking you're asleep, she lightens her steps into the room. Just as she's about to feel her way to the bed, a voice comes from the bed. You're back? Lin Qingxue reaches out and turns on the light. The room brightens. You stop moving. See the person on the bed propped on one hand. Black silky hair spilling over fair shoulders and neck. Your gaze darkens. Step onto the bed, raise a hand, and turn off the light. In the dark, you pull her waist. No spare flesh. Close. Pat her back. It's okay now. Wife, go to sleep. Before you came back, she didn't dare sleep. Afraid you'd hit too hard and kill someone. Also afraid the villagers would gossip. She was terrified, curled up in your arms like a kitten, her cheek against your solid, burning chest. Listening to your strong heartbeat, slowly stops sobbing. She doesn't dare cry loudly. Afraid of waking your daughter. Seeing your wife like this, you only feel you hit too lightly. You thought, with your bad reputation, the village punks wouldn't dare. Didn't expect someone still had the nerve. But after today, those with ideas should stop. Looking at the man, his face weary, thinking how he's been leaving early and coming back late, digging and selling dendrobium, giving the money to her, protecting her, soothing her. He really has changed. In the dark, Lin Qingxue cries herself out, falls asleep in a daze. You listen to the steady breathing of the person beside you, and finally breathe a sigh of relief. The next day, Lin Qingxue is woken from her sleep by voices outside. In the yard, sister-in-law Zhao adds a big handful of sugar to the boiled water, pours water for the workers one by one. In these times, sugar is a luxury. Usually no family is willing to buy it. Xiao Fingjie drinks a bowl of sugar water, sidles up to sister-in-law Zhao, asks in a low voice, sister-in-law, yesterday, how come I seem to hear your sister-in-law at home shouting? Sister-in-law Zhao puts down the kettle, looks at this gossipy Xiao Fingjie. Your house is 2 li from Little Fourths, and you still heard? What? You have nothing better to do at night. Squatting under the young couple's window eavesdropping? Xiao Fingjie smiles, doesn't answer, thinking of last night. Heard you beat Air Lizzie from the east half to death, and broke one of his legs. Coincidentally, the city wife is restless. Figures this wife must have been cheating, and he couldn't stand it. Wants to talk about it. Sister-in-law Zhao can't be bothered with him. Carries the kettle to pour water for others. Comes to you, gives you a look, says quietly, go check on Qingxue. Usually by this time she's already awake. Hope she didn't get scared sick. You stop moving the bricks you're carrying. When you got up this morning, she was indeed still asleep. It's already 10 o'clock. You lift the curtain and enter the bedroom. When you open the door and come in, Lin Qingxue wakes up. You instinctively pull her into your arms. Turn your face to the person in your arms and say, if you're awake, get dressed first. I'll bring the food in for you in a bit. Your voice is a little hoarse. The curtains are still drawn. It's loud outside. Lin Qingxue can't help asking what's all the noise in the yard. You smile and reply, they're rebuilding the courtyard wall. It's a mess. Wife, don't come out yet. There are still things to do outside. Then why won't you let go? Not only do I not let go, I hold you tighter. I say to her, kiss me and I'll let go. Stop fooling around. Let go. There are people outside. What fooling around? You're my wife. You won't even kiss me? Don't you like me anymore? Your tone carries a hint of aggrieved ferocity. Lin Qingxue wants to explain, but in the end says nothing. She leans in and lightly pecks your cheek. Okay, now let me go. After she kisses you, a spark flashes in your beautiful eyes. Joyfully, you cup her face and kiss her. I'm bored staying inside anyway. I want to go out and help. Without thinking, you flatly refuse. If you're bored, I'll have sister-in-law come keep you company. Hearing this, Lin Qingxue knows there's no hope of helping outside. Seeing you won't move, she goes back to the bedroom, bored to play with your daughter, with many helpers. The courtyard wall is finished by 4 p.m. that day. The 2-meter-high wall is covered with broken glass at the top. Without a ladder, it's hard for anyone to climb a 2-meter wall, especially with glass shards on top. Building a courtyard wall before the house. That's a first. Behind your house. Chao Fengjia's elder brother laughs. Last night, I went out to use the toilet. Second rascal from the Chao family sneaked out of Lin Qingxue's room. I'm afraid they've already done something. Zhang Hongxiao exclaims. No way. If it's true, Lin Qingxue is too shameless. The sisters-in-law whisper to each other, winking and making faces. Their eyes at Chao Linkings show contempt. You, who have been watching them, see all this, and you hear every word without missing a beat. These 2 women really need a beating. Your own uncle and his daughters-in-law are this kind of trash. They said they came to help. They're actually just here for free sugar water. Did you see? Chao Fengjie even brought a tea jar. His pockets are bulging too. Looks like he took a lot. The snack's meant for helpers. You figure out how to deal with them. Chao Fengjie and Zhang Hongxiao must be taken care of once and for all. To avoid trouble. After dinner, you stroll over to Uncle Wang Dashan's house. Wang Dashan and his 2 sons haven't divided the family. They all live together. When you arrive, the Wang family is eating. Seeing you come, everyone is surprised. Jinggu, have you eaten? Uncle Wang Dashan asks. Lu Shuqin takes a mouthful of rice. Seeing you walk toward her, she thinks nothing of it. You step by step approach Chao Fengjie. You grab him by the hair. This move shocks everyone on sight. Amid Chao Fengjie's screams, they snap out of it one by one. Wang Yi stands up in pain. Jinggu, what madness has gotten into you? You sneer coldly. What madness? Ask your wife. Chao Fengjie never expected the news would reach your ears so quickly, and that you would come so fast. You list Chao Fengjie's wrongdoings. Lu Shuqin and Wang Dashan's faces darken. The daughter-in-law we married and isn't a daughter-in-law. She's a disaster. Usually they fear their son will follow this man. That Jinggu won't learn good things. They repeatedly warned him to stay away. And now this woman dares to slander him openly. Chao Fengjie curses you under his breath. But he doesn't know how to explain. Zhang Hongxiao stands up. Could there be a misunderstanding? Jinggu, let go first. Chao Fengjie is still your cousin's sister-in-law. You see, birds of a feather flock together. Zhang Hongxiao, you're no good either. Sit down. Zhang Hongxiao feels awkward. She looks at her husband. Wang Yong stays quiet, clearly not wanting to step into this mess. You raise your hand and slap Chao Fengjie across the face. I'll teach you to run your mouth. I'll break that mouth of yours. Chao Fengjie is stunned by the slap. He never thought you would dare. No one in the Wang family stops you either. You slap Chao Fengjie 6 times before stopping. Then you let him go. Chao Fengjie sees stars. He can't even stand steady. Staggering, he falls onto Wang He, by his own husband. He is shoved away forcefully. Wang Dashan utters darkly. You asked for that beating. Serves you right. Lu Shuqin glares at Chao Fengjie. Frustration chokes her. Chao Fengjie, are you out of your mind? Can't you stand to see Jinggu and his wife happy? How dare you say such things? Clearly you're trying to sow discord. Beaten, no one feels sorry for him. I didn't say those things. With no way out but to deny it. Chao Fengjie has no other choice. You didn't say those things? Dare you swear? If you're lying, may your whole family die. May your parents die horribly. May your children die horribly. Chao Fengjie is too green. He's no match for you, wily and cunning. A few words shut Chao Fengjie up completely. His conscience pricks him. He stammers, unable to speak. What really happened? Everyone now understands. You look around at everyone. Today I'm laying it on the line. If I hear anyone spreading gossip in the village, or driving a wedge between my wife and me, don't blame me for being ruthless. If someone ends up beat to death or crippled, I won't be responsible. As the words fall, you give Chao Fengjie 2 more hard kicks. Wang He looks on, then steps forward and gives his own wife a beating too. Chao Fengjie's face is swollen. Beaten by Wang He, he keeps begging for mercy. Still, no one dares to step in. You haven't left? Obviously still angry. Anyone who intervenes will be unlucky. After a while, Lu Shuqin sighs. That's enough. If he's hurt, we'll have to spend money to treat him. Wang He raises his hand and slaps Chao Fengjie across the face. This blow makes blood trickle from the corner of his mouth. You snort. I told you to have a loose tongue. Next time, I'll sew your mouth. With these words, you swagger off. Inside the house, apart from Chao Fengjie's sobs, there is no other sound. After dealing with him, you feel relaxed in mind and body. Cheerfully, you go home to find your wife. Seeing you leave, Wang Dashan gives Lu Shuqin a look, telling her to take the 2 daughters-in-law to the kitchen to clean up. In the center of the hall, Wang Dashan smokes in silence. He taps the table with his pipe bowl. Wang He, Wang Yong, you 2 control your wives. If there's gossip in the village about Xiao Xi's family, I won't be able to protect you either. Xiao Xi, we can't afford to provoke. Lately I've heard he's reformed. But to me, he's become even more unruly. Wang He and Wang Yong lower their heads, daring not to speak. With a creak, the old wooden door is pushed open. Chao Fengjie quickly closes his eyes. Haven't figured out what to do about themselves yet. Been married a few months now, but still no sign of a pregnancy. Her in-laws and husband just watched her get beaten. Did nothing to stop it. What kind of people are these? Wang Yi came in and said nothing. Sat on the edge of the adobe Kong, lost in thought. His mind was a mess, far from calm. This cousin of his is no ordinary person. Father's meaning is clear, don't provoke him. But his own wife is quite beautiful, and letting her go completely, sending her back to her family. He couldn't bear that either. They locked eyes. Neither spoke. After a while, Chao Fengjie crawled up. I was wrong. Wang He was somewhat surprised. Never thought the day would come when he'd admit fault. Chao Fengjie saw that he wasn't talking. From now on I'll behave and live with you properly. I promise I won't step out the front door, nor cross the second gate. Wang He stared at him for a few moments, then turned and left. Xiao Fengjie turned his head and watched his back, pressed his lips together, a little at a loss. Maybe he should take the initiative. This beating today absolutely couldn't be suffered in vain. The next morning, Lin Qingxue divided the risen dough into 5 small pieces, placed them in the pan and fried until golden on both sides. She was about to pinch off a small piece to taste, when an embrace from behind startled her. You were quite tall, bending over to hold her completely in your arms, your chin resting on her shoulder hollow. Lin Qingxue flinched, but relaxed once she caught the familiar scent. She turned around groggily and saw him staring at the food in her hand. She gave a faint smile, fed the pancake into his mouth. How does it taste? Delicious. Your smile is genuine and natural. Wife, you don't have to get up so early to cook for me. You can stay in bed longer with the child. You're going hunting? It's cold in the mountains, so a hot meal in the morning is good. A few days ago, I saw you taking just some dry rations when you left in the morning. Lin Qingxue naturally wants to do something for you. I'm heading out. After breakfast, you put on your big boots, shouldered the carrying baskets, and headed toward the mountain. After walking for nearly 2 hours, you successfully found that dendrobium plant. You took out your tools and got to work. By noon, all the dendrobium had been harvested. Seeing that it was still early, you didn't go down the mountain right away. You looked around for dead wood, trying your luck. Sure enough, you spotted a big fire. You strode over. Those were mushrooms. No, how could there be such bright red, shriveled mushrooms? They were 4 lingji of different shapes and sizes. This trip to the mountain was totally worth it. How come before you never noticed the deep mountains were full of treasures? You put down the carrying basket, broke off some leafy grass to spread as padding, used a sharp blade to cut the lingji and place them inside, then covered them with a thick layer of grass. Just as you were about to leave, from the corner of your eye, your peripheral vision caught an inconspicuous, small hole next to a chestnut tree. Fine dirt and footprints were scattered around the entrance. Those were traces left by a badger. This looks like a badger's den. Badger meat is delicious. It could nourish your wife. Badger oil is a precious medicinal ingredient, but badgers are alert and cunning. Catching one directly is no easy task. You decide to try smoking it out. Rummaging through your space, you find a handful of dried chili peppers. Carefully, you stuff the dried chilies and dry wood into the den entrance. Flames leap up. Thick smoke billows, carrying a pungent smell that spreads into the badger hole. You step back and wait patiently. The badger, sensing the smoke and strange odor, will instinctively look for an exit to flee, and you have already set up a net at the entrance, just waiting for the badger to walk right into it. You're gambling a bit. Badgers are good at digging burrows. Their dens are intricate, often with multiple exits. You remembered from Animal World that some badger dens even have over 130 exits. Time ticks by. The mountain forest is silent, only the occasional bird song. You stare intently at the entrance, palms slightly sweaty. After waiting nearly half an hour with no movement, you're about to give up, planning to use wet branches to put out the fire, when there's movement at the entrance. A furry badger head pokes out, eyes flickering with panic in the smoke. Then its whole body emerges from the hole, and in a panic it charges straight into the capture net. Quick-eyed and swift-handed, you pull the net rope rapidly, trapping the badger securely in the net. This badger looks to be about 20 gene or so, a 1 in 6 chance of hitting the right opening. To catch one like this, you're already very satisfied. You take water from your space, making sure the fire is completely out, before you turn and head down the mountain. And at this time, some villagers at home heard you bought a TV, and out of curiosity, they came calling one after another, wanting to see what this TV that city people talk about looks like. Throughout the day, your house is full of excitement. People come and go in waves. Some villagers in between saw Zhao Zhenxing send over a pile of building materials, and after asking and learning you're going to build a house, they all showed surprised expressions. There was all kinds of talk. Everyone thought you wouldn't be able to build the house, that you didn't have that much money. And behind your back they whispered that you didn't know how to manage a household, spending so much money on a metal box that's useless, wasting money and electricity. Lin Qingxue was worn out just dealing with the villagers who came to watch TV. She felt the house was more bustling today than on her wedding day. Just as she was about to sit down and rest, she saw you coming back carrying the bamboo baskets. Her eyes immediately lit up. She carried the child and went to meet you. Why are you back so early today? As she spoke, she noticed grass leaves stuffed in your bamboo basket. After these few times, just by looking at the grass in your bamboo basket, she could guess there was something inside. She was a little puzzled how your luck could be so good. Dendrobium is something you can only find by chance. Yet every time you go up the mountain, you bring some back. Lin Qingxue was wearing a brand new red sweater, which made her skin look even finer and fairer, so much so that you were dazzled for a moment. When she reached you, you bent down and wanted to kiss her on the cheek, but she blushed and dodged away. Lin Qingxue thought this guy had no sense of decency, trying to kiss her in broad daylight. Tian and sister-in-law are both here. Only then did you notice there were still a few villagers in the room. You looked at your wife in confusion. Lin Qingxue saw your question and explained, the villagers all want to see what a TV looks like. Luckily sister-in-law came over. She helped me handle things. You nodded, wanted to take the child from her arms, but looked down and saw your clothes were a bit dirty. So you carried the basket into the kitchen, turned to your wife who had followed you in, bent down and whispered a few instructions in her ear. Lin Qingxue glanced at the basket, nodded and said she understood, although she didn't know how much you had brought back, and that you were even going to town early tomorrow morning. She didn't ask too many questions. There were still so many outsiders in the house, yet he dared to get this close. So close that they were inches apart. This guy has changed too much recently. sensing that his wife was secretly sizing him up. You grinned from ear to ear. Mwah. Plant a kiss on each of your wife's palm-sized cheeks. Wife, eat well today. No one said that. And your hand was not well-behaved either. Your hand was also not honest. His hand caressed her waist. How can it be so slender? Probably not even a foot 6 around. Wife, when I'm not home to supervise you, you still need to eat well. You're too thin. I can wrap my hands around your waist. Lin Qingxue, holding the child, gave you a reproachful glare. She was about to say he was fooling around without regard for the occasion, when she heard sister-in-law shout outside. Since old Fourth is back. Qingqing, I'll be heading home now. Old Zhao's down in the fields. He'll be back soon. With that, she started to leave. Lin Qingxue quickly called after her. Sister-in-law, wait a moment. She handed the daughter to you, and herself went out of the kitchen. She went into the east room and came out carrying a bag of rock candy. She pressed it into sister-in-law's hands. She was afraid that during this time you might speak up and forbid her from giving the rock candy. It was a rare treat. She couldn't bear to eat it herself. But if it hadn't been for sister-in-law's help, the mother and child would have had an even harder time before. Sister-in-law had heard today that many villagers came to watch the excitement, and she didn't even visit the flowers. If sister-in-law hadn't come, with so many people, how could she have handled it on her own? Before, the family was poor, and she always took advantage of sister-in-law. Now that they're better off, she wanted to repay sister-in-law, even if they were sisters-in-law. You can't always take advantage of someone. Sister-in-law, this was bought by Donghua. Take it home and give it to the kids to eat. Sister-in-law stared at the half-caddy of rock candy in her hand, dumbfounded. She quickly pushed it back. No, keep it for Nyo to eat. Sugar water was for entertaining honored guests. How could ordinary families afford to drink it? If a new bride brought this when visiting her parents' home, her family would be so proud. The two of them tussled back and forth several times. The bag was about to tear. Only then did sister-in-law sheepishly take the rock candy. She turned and went home. Lin Qingxue was afraid you'd blame her for acting on her own. She twisted the hem of her clothes and stammered an explanation. Donghua, thank goodness sister-in-law came to help. There were so many people at the time. I was bustling around, dizzy and confused. I almost forgot to eat. I gave the rock candy to sister-in-law. Please don't be angry. And please, don't lose your temper. And go ask for it back. Watching your wife's timid little expression, you felt as if a hand were squeezing your heart. Your heart was about to break. Your wife still didn't trust you. She was always afraid that if she said the wrong thing, you would yell at her. You really had brought this upon yourself. You didn't speak. And Lin Qingxue grew even more frightened, as if she had done something wrong. She lowered her head and muttered, Zhenggu, I won't dare do it again. Please don't be angry. With one arm holding your daughter, you pulled your wife into your embrace with the other. There were some things you needed to explain clearly to your wife. Misunderstandings must never be carried over to the next day. Otherwise, they would only pile up. When a couple lives together, the worst thing is not communicating properly. Without communication, everything falls apart. You patted your wife on the back. Your chin brushed against her hair. In a very gentle tone, you said, Wife, I've already told you. You're the one in charge of our home. You handle the money. Do whatever you want. You have the final say. It's just a bag of sugar. If you want some, we'll buy more tomorrow. You don't have to worry so much about my reactions. Whatever decision you make, I will support you unconditionally. Hearing this at first, Lin Qingxue thought you were still sulking with her. But you said it over and over, not acting rashly. Only then did Lin Qingxue dare to believe. Heaven knew she had barely dared to breathe just now, afraid that this man would turn against her. Seeing that your wife's breathing slowly steadied, you finally relaxed. It seemed you needed to talk heart-to-heart with your wife every night from now on. You wanted to take your wife to town to relax, but you knew she definitely wouldn't want to. She was afraid that as soon as she set foot in town, you would sell their daughter. But you thought, it would be better to take your wife out for some fresh air now. Wife, would you like to take a stroll with me at the foot of the mountain? I'll catch a quail for you to snack on. Lin Qingxue was a bit tempted to go. It wasn't that she had a craving for quail, but lately this man hadn't let her go to the fields to earn work points. He told her to stay home and recuperate. Just take good care of the child. She had gone to work in the fields the day after giving birth. Back then, she didn't take care of herself, but now he was the one worrying about her. She wondered what he had given Wang Xuanzhu as a favor, that the two laborers in the family could both skip field work, and Wang Xuanzhu didn't even come to urge them. Seeing that your wife was clearly interested, but still hesitating, her gaze wavering over the people in the yard, you knew she was worried that if they left, the things at home wouldn't be safe. You laughed heartily. It's fine. Wait a moment. Then you carried the child out of the kitchen. Who knows how you talk to them? Everyone in the main room came out. You even chased Li Tiantian out. Li Tiantian actually wanted to follow this family of three to the foot of the mountain for a look. She heard there were tigers on the mountain, so none of the sent-down youth dared to go near. But seeing that they didn't welcome her, she could only wander aimlessly around the village. On the way, you noticed your wife glancing at you now and then, as if she wanted to say something but held back. You stopped and looked at her expectantly. Lin Qingxue mustered her courage and said, Donghua, can I go back to my parents' house tomorrow? After all this time being married, the man beside her had finally started acting like a decent person, earning money to support the family, taking care of his wife and daughter. Lin Qingxue wanted to visit her parents to ease her mother's mind, so she wouldn't worry anymore about her daughter marrying poorly. You thought your wife had been building up courage for so long. It must be something big to say, but it was just this. You held your daughter with one arm, and took your wife's hand with the other. Tomorrow I'll go with you to your parents' house. You wait for me at home. Come to think of it, you've taken quite a bit of money from your mother-in-law. Tomorrow I'll go to town and sell the dendrobium and fleeceflower root, plus some venison. That should be enough to pay her back, and I'll buy some gifts for your mother on the way. Lin Qingxue never expected that this man would say such things. It was truly a pleasant surprise. She couldn't help but nod and smile. Before long, you brought her to a lake where wild ducks lived. You stopped. Here we are. This lake, years ago, had drowned more than a dozen mischievous kids. The villagers said there was a water monkey hiding in it. It was very ominous, so people usually took the long way around, not daring to get close. You didn't believe that superstition. You took off your shirt and laid it on the grass, letting your wife sit on it with the child while she waited. You even sprinkled realgar powder and mugwort powder to repel insects. Lin Qingxue pushed aside the weeds in front of her, gazing at the lake that reflected the blue sky, white clouds, and the surrounding woods. Her eyes lit up. From the grass came the quacking of wild ducks. Lin Qingxue couldn't help but ask excitedly, "Is this where you caught the wild duck last time?" You nodded. "There should be duck eggs. This is the season they lay." He pushed aside the grass that was taller than a man, walking toward the sound of the ducks. Before he even reached them, the ducks in the grass sensed the movement and flapped their wings, flying away. Lin Qingxue rubbed her nose sheepishly. "Oh no, the ducks all ran away. You had brought her here to relax. So you said nonchalantly, 'It's fine. You rest. I'll go look around.' You sent her back and walked into the grass yourself to search carefully. Indeed, found many wild ducks, nests built with dry grass and down feathers. Inside lay gray-green wild duck eggs. There were quite a few. You picked some and came back to show him, empty-handed. After leaving for a while, Lin Qingxue looked at the wild duck eggs with worry. How to take them back? For hands at most couldn't carry them all. Over a dozen, and many more left behind. To someone used to thrift? It was such a waste. Lin Qingxue stood on tiptoe and scanned around the lake. Saw many chaste trees growing. Quickly handed the daughter to you. "You hold the daughter for me. I have an idea." He took out a knife to cut the chaste branches. When you understood his intention, you placed the daughter on a tree branch. Also took out a knife to help cut. "Wife, I'll cut it myself. You're not used to it. You might hurt yourself. Hold the daughter and wait for you." He moved very fast. Soon collected a pile of chaste branches. Found a flat spot. After stripping off the green leaves, Lin Qingxue began to lay the branches flat, weaving. You could only stand by and watch. Couldn't help at all. Lin Qingxue soon wove a basket. Suddenly seemed to think of something. Looked up at the sky. Asked you if you were hungry. You shook your head, saying you weren't hungry. Lin Qingxue touched her stomach, embarrassed. "But I'm a little hungry." You quickly said, "I'll go hunt. Roast you a bird." "No need." Lin Qingxue took 2 buns from the cloth bag. "I brought buns. Just heat them up and they're ready to eat. You have some too." You glanced at the cloth bag, nodded slowly. Lin Qingxue smiled, her eyes curving into crescents. Cut some dry grass by the lake. Lit a small fire. Put the buns on the fire to heat. Told you to watch the heat. Then went back to weave the basket. Not a moment of rest. He worked very quickly. The aroma of toasted buns had just burst out. When the basket was finished, he leaned in front of you to show off. "Look, isn't it beautiful?" "It's beautiful. Wife, your hands are so clever." You glanced up, took down the toasted bun and handed it to her. "Eat." Lin Qingxue put down the basket, washed her hands in the lake water. The two sat on a dead tree by the lake, biting into the toasted buns with the mountain peaks and autumn sun. After you finished eating, stood up and picked up the basket. Went alone into the grass to pick wild duck eggs. This mountain forest has been unvisited for years. Wild ducks have far fewer natural enemies. They bred well. In the time Lin Qingxue took to eat, you had already filled a basket. It looked like you could fill 2 more baskets. Lin Qingxue got 1 basket. Didn't be greedy. Having these is enough. Wait here for a moment. I'll go deeper. See if I can hunt something else. You plunged into the thicket. Lin Qingxue held the child. Her gaze fixed on the man in the distant bushes. Occasionally saw his head pop up, crawling on the ground, moving cautiously, as he crawled through the grass. Her heart also lifted. With grass this deep, could there be snakes? What if he gets bitten by a snake? The more she thought, the more she regretted. The wait grew long. She became anxious. When his head appeared, she shouted urgently toward the bushes, "Come up quickly. I don't want quail anymore." Too far away. He didn't hear it all. Plunged back into the thicket. Lin Qingxue grew even more restless. Holding the child, she bent down and picked up the shirt from the ground, clutched it in her hand, stood at the foot of the mountain, staring intently into the distance. Because he was with his wife, and only at the foot of the mountain, you didn't use the hunting rifle. Instead, you used a slingshot. This was no ordinary piece. The frame was made by heating and bending steel rebar. After countless rounds of grinding and adjustment, the sling was made from premium cowhide cord. It felt heavy in the hand. Your eyes were sharp as an eagle's, staring at the sky, searching for a target. Finally, in the last glow of the setting sun, a wild goose slowly flew into view, flapping its wings, seemed to be hurrying back to its nest. "You'll do." You took a deep breath, steadying your mind, slowly raised the slingshot. The slingshot's range was limited. The goose was flying very high, but you had your own way. You started with a triple shot. The first stone flew into the air. The second followed closely and hit the first. The third immediately struck the first 2, carrying a sound of splitting air, chasing the figure about to disappear on the horizon. Finally, under the impact of the latter 2 stones, the first precisely hit the goose's wing. The goose's body shuddered violently, lost its balance, spiraled in the air before falling helplessly. An indescribable excitement and pride surged in your heart. He gripped the slingshot tightly. His eyes followed the goose as it fell, until it landed steadily on the grass not far away. As you carried the goose down the mountain, you saw your wife holding the child and hurrying up the hill. Seeing this, your heart jumped into your throat. The mountain path was very slippery. You quickly called out to stop her. "Dangerous. Don't come up." The sudden voice startled Lin Qingxue into stopping. Her voice trembling slightly, she shouted to you. Come down quickly. I don't want quail anymore. I'll never eat them again. Please come down quickly. By the end, her eyes were red. He stayed in the grass, watched the mountain for a long time with no movement. Heaven knows how scared she was at that moment. Afraid that, if something happened to him in the mountains, what would she do? She didn't dare imagine it at all. You also sensed something was wrong with your wife. How could you still care about hunting? Quickly responded, I'm coming out now. Stand there, don't move. Saying that, he quickly came down to the foot of the mountain. You carried the goose, strode up to your wife, staring at her reddened eyes, asked, what's wrong? Are you cold? Come on, let's go home. Lin Qingxue said nothing, turned and walked ahead, holding the child. Her unease and fear could not be calmed for a long time. You had no idea at all. Why was your wife suddenly unhappy? She was fine when they left. In just that short time, her expression changed. You tried several times to start a conversation, wanted to ask for your shirt and pants back. But seeing your wife with a long face, holding the child, not even looking at you directly, you had no choice. You could only stay bare-chested, wearing shorts, carrying the goose and a basket of duck eggs, following behind your wife, passing by Old Man Li's door. Old Man Li was squatting on the threshold, smoking his pipe. He caught sight of Zhao Laosi. His wife walked ahead holding the child. In her hand, she clutched Laosi's clothes. Then he looked at Laosi, a tall man over 6 feet, following behind his wife, meek and docile, all wilted, like an eggplant hit by frost. How come I never noticed before how you were as brazen as a crab outside? Zhao Laosi is actually this meek in front of his wife. The young couple walks up. Old Man Li can't help but tease. What's wrong with Fourth? Got a scolding from the wife. You crane your neck to glance at your wife. Can't see her expression. Only catch a glimpse of her fair neck. You quickly look away. Flash a smile at Old Man Li, but you don't dare say a single word. The two of you return to the front door, one after the other. You toss the wild goose in your hand to the ground. Rush ahead to open the courtyard gate. The gate opens, and you considerately stand to the side. Only after your wife enters. Do you bend down, pick up the wild goose, and follow her inside? Lin Qingxue nearly laughs at your amusing antics. She barely manages to hold it in. Carrying the child, she sits down on a stool in the yard. Only then does she realize she's still holding his shirt in her hand. He's bare-chested, wearing only a pair of pants, and followed her all the way back like that. She suddenly remembers Old Man Li's teasing. Why did I get upset with him? I even forgot to give him his clothes. She sneaks a peek at him, seeing he's not angry either, just quietly drawing water. She stands and says to you, don't wash with that cold water. I'll heat some water for you. Saying this, she holds their daughter with one arm and struggles to open the door, wanting to put their daughter down on the small bed inside. Hearing your wife initiate the conversation, you immediately perk up. You turn your head, see your wife holding their daughter, struggling with the lock. You quickly put down the water basin, step up in a few strides, come up behind your wife, take the key and insert it into the keyhole, and deftly unlock the door. You look down at your wife in your arms, feeling overjoyed inside. You look at your daughter. I'll take a quick rinse and then make your meal. Lin Qingxue doesn't say a word. As soon as the door opens, she carries the child inside, puts the sleeping daughter on the small bed, tucks the small blanket around her, pushes aside the curtain and comes out. Sees the man, barebacked, pouring cold water splash over his body. Watching him, she can't even be angry anymore. Thinks to herself, let him freeze. Never mind. She walks over, picks up his shirt from the stool, and just sits there, waits for him to finish washing and go inside. Lin Qingxue takes his clothes and walks to the well, lifts a bucket to draw water, and starts scrubbing the clothes and pants. As she washes, she wonders, when I go to the city tomorrow, should I bring my best friend? First go to the market town to pick him out a couple of thicker clothes. It's already autumn. The weather is getting colder day by day, and he still wears that thin shirt all day long. Runs off to the mountains before dawn. The mountain dew is heavy in the early morning, and the temperature is low. How can he not feel the cold? Every day he comes back with mud spots on his pants. His shirt is covered in mud too, probably from lying on the ground digging for herbs. You rinse off quickly. Your tall, sturdy body is dripping wet. Carrying a chill, you take long strides, bending down to enter the house. You grab your wife's towel and haphazardly wipe the water off your body. Change into clean clothes, then come back out. See that the clothes you wore today have already been washed. A warmth fills your heart. Having someone wash your clothes, what a great feeling. Having a wife, what a great feeling. You gut and clean the wild goose you just caught. Decide to stir-fry half and make soup with the other half for your wife. Li Tian returns home and happens to see you cleaning a bird. Little sister-in-law is hanging big brother's clothes and pants to dry. This scene once again reshapes his impression of you. Lin Qingxue has barely put down her rice bowl when Aunt Zhang from the east end comes bustling over. Her daughter is about to get married. She needs to find someone literate to look over these fancy wedding invitations. So, she thinks of Lin Qingxue, hurries over to ask her for help. Li Tian doesn't want to be left alone with a grown man, to avoid idle village gossip. So she goes along to lend a hand too. After dinner, you start preparing the healing oil. This is a precious medicinal herb. It has excellent moisturizing and skin repairing properties, and is remarkably effective for treating burns and frostbite. You look outside, it's pitch black. Can't see your hand in front of your face. So you lock the door, carrying the child in your arms. You cross more than half the village, and arrive at Aunt Zhang's house. Seeing him come over with the child, Lin Qingxue thinks something's wrong. She quickly puts down the work in her hands. She walks up to you, looks down at the baby in your arms, and asks, what's the matter? You look at your wife and smile. It's nothing, just came to check on you. Saying this, you find a small stool and plop down onto it. Aunt Zhang is sharp-witted. She senses something is up. Her smile is so wide you can see her teeth, but not her eyes. She says to Lin Qingxue, "You're fourth here." He's afraid you'll be scared walking the dark road. He was worried about you, and came specially to pick you up. Lin Qingxue hears what Aunt Zhang says, and glances at the man sitting on the stool. Is that really the case? Aunt Zhang just loves to tease people. How could I take that seriously? Besides, even if he knows I'm afraid of the dark, Tian came along with me too, didn't she? He didn't have to come all this way for nothing. Thinking this, Lin Qingxue says to the man sitting on the stool, "Have a seat and rest for a bit. I'll be done in just a moment." Then she goes back to the table, and busies herself, head down. You give a grunt in reply. As you speak, your eyes are practically glued to your wife, staring fixedly at her every move. Just then, Zhang Taijun, chewing on a corn bun, pulls up a stool and sits down next to you. Fourth brother, I think sister-in-law is really something. She's even prettier than Sister Hui. Educated and cultured. Hearing Zhang Tiejuan's words, you are startled for a moment. It takes a while for it to sink in. Then you remember who Zhang Huihui is. You're puzzled. Why did Taijun suddenly bring her up? When Zhang Taijun sees you stay silent, he thinks fourth brother is still hung up on Zhang Huihui. He immediately gets anxious. If that's the case, then sister-in-law is getting a really raw deal. Sister-in-law is completely devoted to brother Xinghua. Their family is dirt poor, yet she sticks with him through thick and thin. How deep is that bond? Thinking this, Zhang Taijun speaks up to advise him. Fourth brother, you should stop pining over her. Just live a good life with my sister-in-law. I heard Sister Hui is dating someone in the city. Seems like he works in the kitchen of a state-run restaurant. Now every time she comes back, her nose is in the air. Won't even give anyone a proper look. His tone is full of displeasure. Zhang Taijun has nothing but contempt for Zhang Huihui. Thinks she relies on her looks, and acts all arrogant. Even talks through her nose. When it comes to appearance, how can Zhang Huihui compare to fourth brother's wife now? Zhang Taijun dreams, every day, of having luck as good as fourth brother's. Marrying a wife with fair skin and a beautiful face. Look at fourth sister-in-law's figure. Does she look like she's given birth? Fresh and tender, like a cucumber just picked. Radiant and dewy. Just one look and your heart itches. Which shameless bastard has been spreading gossip, saying I had my eye on that Zhang Huihui? A piece of trash like her isn't fit to tie my shoes. Neither in my past life, nor in this one, have I ever once given her a proper look. How did this groundless rumor spread like wildfire through the whole village? If my wife hears this, she'll get the wrong idea for sure. You kept staring at your wife just now. She didn't glance your way even once the whole time. You feel even worse inside. From this close distance, there's no way she didn't hear. Could it be that your wife truly doesn't care about you anymore? Thinking of this, you feel a tightness in your chest. Your face turns sour toward Zhang Taijun. When did I ever have feelings for her? Which eye of yours saw me pining after her? Zhang Taijun, seeing your attitude, gets scared like a whipped dog. He quickly puts on a flattering smile. Fourth brother, I was just shooting my mouth off. Why are you getting so worked up? He really does dote on you at heart. You're a notorious rogue for miles around. Even dogs have to tuck their tails and take another road. If you hadn't saved sister-in-law, how could you have married such a good woman? You look at his cowardly face. He clearly doesn't believe you. You can't be bothered to waste words on him. You bark angrily. Get lost. Zhang Taijun grabs his stool and scurries away. Their conversation. Lin Qingxue overhears every single word. Her hand grips the pen tightly. The knuckles turn white. No wonder he's been acting like a different person lately. So it's because the one hidden in his heart has found someone new. That's why he decided to settle down properly with me. To shut his mouth. A wave of sorrow rises in Lin Qingxue's heart. She feels agonizing pain. On the way home, you hold the child in your arms. You don't care that there's a third wheel following. Li Tian tags behind, eagerly explaining to your wife. Wife, don't listen to Zhang Tiejuan's foul mouth spouting nonsense. I have absolutely nothing to do with that Zhang Huihui. I wouldn't even look at trash like her. My heart only has room for you. His tone is sincere. He almost swears on heaven and earth. Li Tian follows a few steps behind, ears perked up like antennas, listening eagerly to this good show. He watches your tall, strong figure, walking beside the young sister-in-law, your back hunched like a shrimp. How afraid is he that sister-in-law will misunderstand him? Is this what they call no backbone, henpecked husband? You see your wife still ignoring you. Your heart is in turmoil. You can't figure out what she's thinking. So you just hang your head and silently follow her home. Once home, you gently lay the sleeping child on the small bed, cover her with a blanket. Then, like a frostbitten eggplant, you wilt away to the kitchen to boil water. Your tall frame crouches by the stove opening. Stick in hand, you poke at the fire. You curse under your breath. If I find out which stinking mouth spread rumors behind my back, I'll beat him so badly his own mother won't recognize him. Why can't you just mind your own business instead of gossiping? Isn't this just making trouble for yourself? Meanwhile, Lin Qingxue is sitting on a stool in the east room. Stitch by stitch, she sews a winter cotton-padded jacket for her daughter. Before long, you walk in with a steaming basin of water. Taking long strides, you bend down, gently place the basin at your wife's feet. Then you crouch down. Your big hand wraps around her slender ankle. One hand moves to take off her shoes. This gesture makes Lin Qingxue stop her sewing. She looks up at the man crouched before her. Asks, what are you doing? Saying this, she tries to pull her ankle back, but your grip is strong. She can't break free at all. The rough, warm palm rubs against the skin of her ankle, tickling a little. Before, she could read your temper. Now, she can't figure you out at all. What is he really thinking? You keep your head down and don't stop. You pull off the cloth shoes from your wife's feet. You mumble, wife, you've had a long day. Let me soak your feet. Help you relax. Seeing that she can't pull away, Lin Qingxue gives up struggling. Her eyes drop slightly. She quietly watches the man in front of her, letting him take off her shoes. As her feet are pressed into the basin of warm water, just the right temperature, her heart warms up too. You've changed so much these past few days. Especially now, you're even willing to wash her feet voluntarily. If this were before, something she never even dared to dream of has actually happened. When she was pregnant, carrying a heavy belly at such an inconvenient time, he never did this. A craving grows in her heart. She indulges in the tender care he gives her. Thinking of this, she says to the man crouched at her feet washing them, "Zhenghua, I'm not angry with you. As long as you don't fool around anymore, I'll be content." Her fair fingers run through your short hair. Soft fingertips gently stroke. Hearing her words, you don't say a thing, silently rubbing your wife's fair, soft feet. When they're about clean, feeling the water isn't warm anymore, you lift her feet out and place them on your lap. You tuck the wet feet under your clothes. Then you reach for the towel draped over your shoulder. Pull out the feet from under your clothes. Dry the water off them. Then you bend down, scoop the person on the chair into your arms. Take a step and place her on the bed. It's late, don't keep working. Take care of your eyes. Saying so, you climb onto the bed too. Wife, I know I was a bastard before. I did a lot of wrong things to you. I'm not asking you to forgive me right away, but you have to give me a chance to turn over a new leaf. Will you trust me? Your words make Lin Qingshue's rigid body slowly relax. Her breath is filled with your warm scent, mixed with fresh, clean pheromones, warming Lin Qingshue's heart. After a long while, she lets out a barely audible reply. A soft, I know, so faint it's almost inaudible, but you hear it. Early the next morning, before dawn, you get up and head to the market town. You catch the earliest bus to the city. This time, you don't go to the pharmacy you visited last time to sell the dendrobium and the deer antler and other treasures. Going to the same pharmacy too often, you worry about attracting attention from someone with ill intentions. Instead, you choose a different pharmacy. The manager, after seeing what you want to sell, can confirm you're the young man who recently offloaded a big haul. With a smile, he leads you into a private room. After a careful inspection, the items you brought are no problem. Although he doesn't know how you keep getting supply, he's heard of you, so he doesn't lowball the price. You didn't expect it to go so smoothly. You count the thick stack of 10 yuan notes in your hand. After confirming the amount is correct, you stuff it into your pocket and head straight to the state-run department store. You go in to pick some supplements for your mother-in-law, but unexpectedly, you run into a major benefactor from your past life. Secretary Wang, only you don't know why he's turned up in this small county town. He looks very young, in the prime of his youth. It stirs up memories of your past life. In less than 10 years, this man will enter S City, be promoted to the top position. You want to go up and greet him. But in this life, you two haven't met yet. Neither knows the other. Rushing up to say hello would be strange. After thinking it over, you decide against it. If fate allows, you'll meet him again in S City. After all, you'll choose S City for your future development. That's where you lived for decades in your past life. You pick out your items and are about to leave, when you hear a commotion from Secretary Wang's side. A crowd has gathered around to watch the excitement. You stop in your tracks, change direction, and walk over there. The female clerk at the counter is tugging at Wang Xingjuan's sleeve, who's wearing a yellow jacket, and shouts loudly, "Hey, I'm saying, why are you so careless? You break something, you pay full price. If you don't pay, you can't leave." When Wang Xingjuan turned around just now, his clothes hooked onto something inside the counter, and a plum blossom watch fell to the floor and broke. He is a scholar. Seeing the clerk's overbearing attitude, he blushes and explains, "Comrade, you misunderstand. I wasn't trying to run. I don't have enough money on me. My car is just outside. I'll go get the money and bring it back to you. This is my work ID. I'll leave it here as collateral." The clerk takes his ID and glances at it, a look of disdain on her face. "Who are you trying to fool with a fake ID? The moment you step out that door and run, who am I supposed to argue with? You want me to pay for it myself?" As she speaks, she tosses the ID on the ground. You bend down and pick up the work ID and hand it back to Wang Xingjuan. You look at the female clerk and ask how much. "I'll pay for him." The female clerk looks you up and down and sneers with contempt. "Do you know how much this costs?" This country bumpkin just flaps his lips and talks nonsense. 127 yuan and 50 cents. "Pay up." She holds out her hand. Without a word, you pull a stack of 10 yuan notes from your pocket and hand it to her. "Give me the change." Looking at the money in her hand, the clerk counts it several times, stunned and bewildered, then nods. "All right, comrade. Wait a moment." The onlookers, seeing there's nothing more to watch, let out a chorus of boos and disperse. Wang Xingjuan pushes the glasses on his nose and looks at the man a head taller than him in front of him. So many people were watching just now, but not one of them was willing to say a word for him. Yet this man, without a second thought, helped him out. Judging by his clothes, he doesn't seem wealthy. This sum can't be small for him. Thinking this, Wang Xingjuan is immensely grateful to this stranger. There really are good people in this world. "Thank you so much for helping me just now. I have money in my car. The car is parked outside. Could you please come with me to get it?" You nod and follow Wang Xingjuan out. Sure enough, you see a black sedan parked by the roadside. Driving a sedan in this era, it seems the rumors about his deep background were true. Wang Xingjuan opens the car door, takes out a bag from the car, counts out some money, and hands it to you. "Little brother, thank you again. Where are you going?" "I'll give you a ride." You take the money, don't even count it, and just stuff it into your pocket, thinking that you're carrying so many things. Taking the bus really isn't as convenient as riding with him. You don't stand on ceremony. "Then I'll trouble you." Then you tell Wang Xingjuan your home address, and get into the passenger seat. Along the way, the two people who normally have no connection at all chat, and they don't feel awkward at all. On the contrary, it's like they're old acquaintances who haven't seen each other for years. They hit it off very well. Wang Xingjuan originally thought this young man was just ordinary, but during the conversation, he found it wasn't like that at all. This man seems unfathomable. Young as he is, he has a steadiness that shouldn't belong to his age. He can't help feeling that this man is not as simple as he appears on the surface. A thought arises in him. Maybe this man will amount to something big one day. The car pulls up at the courtyard gate. You lean out of the car and step down. Then take the nutritional supplements you bought for your mother-in-law. Out of the trunk, you bend down and thank Wang Xingjuan inside the car. Wang Xingjuan smiles and replies, "It's nothing. Brother, let's meet again if fate allows." Then he glances at the dilapidated adobe house behind you, makes a U-turn, and drives away. You carry the things into the house. At a glance you see your wife holding a man's jacket in her hands. You step forward and put the things you're carrying on the table. You notice your wife trying to hide the jacket behind her back. Quick as a flash, you snatch the blue jacket from her hand. You grin and ask your wife, "Did you buy this for me?" Saying that, you put the jacket on. Lin Qingxue sees you put on the jacket, and the collar isn't straight. She instinctively steps forward, stands on tiptoes, raises her arm, and reaches out to adjust your collar. After fixing it, she steps back a few paces, looks you up and down, and it fits perfectly across the shoulders. It's as if it was tailor-made. After a moment of hesitation, she explains, "I saw it's getting cold, so I took our daughter to the market town and bought you a new jacket." Hearing this, you see her eyes darting nervously, and you understand she's not confident, worried about this and that. You're overjoyed inside, her buying you clothes of her own accord. This is the first time. You take a step forward, reach out, and pull her into your arms. "Thank you, my wife. I really like this jacket." As you speak, you only then notice there's a big light bulb in the room. Li Tian is holding a child in her arms, her eyes wide as brass bells, staring at you kissing your sister-in-law. She's completely stunned. She's standing right there in the room. Yet you didn't see her again, did you? Now she's just seen something she shouldn't have. Will she get styes? When can she go back to the city to kiss her own big brother? Lost in thought, she blushes, forces a fake smile, and hurriedly carries the child into the west room where she stays. Lin Qingxue, after your kiss, is breathing unevenly, softly leaning against your strong chest, listening to your powerful heartbeat. She asks softly, "Have you eaten? Are you hungry? I'll cook for you." You put your arm around your wife and lead her into the east room where you sleep. Then you press her down to sit on a stool and take out the cloth bag you've kept close to your body. "Put this away and keep it safe." Lin Qingxue looks up at you, then looks down and opens the cloth bag still carrying your body heat. When she sees it's full of 10 yuan notes, she quickly clutches the bag tight and anxiously glances at the door, confirming no one is outside. She lowers her voice and asks, "How come there's so much?" There's a hint of fear in her voice. The money you bring back keeps increasing. She's both happy and afraid. Really afraid you're doing something bad behind her back. Seeing your wife's adorable expression, you can't help but laugh. This is nothing. There will be even more money in the future. You sigh softly. The happiness now feels like a dream. You crouch in front of your wife, looking into her eyes. "All right, wife. If you're uneasy, next time I go to town, you come with me, okay? Then you can see where the money comes from." Hearing this, Lin Qingxue stares straight at you. She looks for a long while, then finally nods. Seeing her agree, you can't help but lean in and kiss her on the forehead again. Only then do you say, "All right, get yourself ready. Leave me 200 yuan. I'm going to borrow a bicycle, and later I'll take you to your parents' home." With that, he turned, lifted the curtain, and went out. After you went out, Lin Qingxue stared at the thick stack of 10 yuan notes in her hand. Her eyes swept around the room. She felt that no matter where she put it, it wasn't safe. Her heart was uneasy. She stayed alone in the room, looking in several places, but none felt secure. She checked the place where she had hidden money before, counted the amount, and after confirming there was no issue, she began to fret again. She didn't know where to hide this money. To be safe, you didn't borrow a bicycle. Back in the yard, you sat down on the stone block, pulled out a cigarette from your pocket, struck a match, lit the cigarette, and took a long, hard drag, slowly exhaling the smoke. You thought about taking your wife and child out, but without any means of transportation, it wouldn't do. You could walk any distance on your own 2 feet, but you couldn't let your wife and child suffer. You had intended to borrow a bicycle to take them back to her parents' home, but you forgot how precious this thing was in this era. Even the owners didn't want to ride it themselves, so how could they lend it to an outsider? You only thought about building a house to improve living conditions, and the matter of transportation for going out completely slipped your mind. After Lin Qingxue hid the money, she came out of the room, saw you sitting in the yard smoking, and didn't see the bicycle. She knew you hadn't borrowed it. She spoke up, "Walking is fine too. That's how we always went before." You nodded, and replied sullenly, "You made up your mind to earn more money as soon as possible." There were too many things the family needed to buy. Around 2 in the afternoon, Lin's mother was washing clothes in the yard. A neighbor came in and exclaimed excitedly, "Annie, stop washing. I saw your daughter and son-in-law coming back." Half the village knew what kind of man her daughter had married. On hearing the neighbor's words, Lin's mother quickly got up, wiped her hands on her apron, and hurried out. She wondered what had happened this time. Were they here to freeload again? She reached the gate and saw her daughter and son-in-law walking toward her. She didn't know why the two of them had come together today. She also noticed that her son-in-law was carrying several bags. Anxiously, she went up to meet them. First, she carefully examined her daughter, seeing her dressed in a brand new outfit, her young, fair face beaming with a smile, so different from her usual worried expression. Only then did her heart, which had been in her throat, finally settle. She saw that her son-in-law was carrying malted milk powder, canned fruit, and such a large piece of meat, a pheasant, and quite a few duck eggs. It must have cost a lot of money. Thinking of their family's situation, she couldn't help but complain. Coming home, "You two just come. Why bring so many things?" Saying this, she quickly took the child from her daughter's arms. Lin Qingxue had a faint smile on her face and didn't say a word. Every time before, she came empty-handed and left loaded down. This was the first time since her marriage that she had brought things back to her parents' home. Though she hadn't said much along the way, the happiness in her heart was beyond words. Looking at your mother-in-law before you, you respectfully called out, "Mom." Lin's mother felt a pang of unease at your greeting and forced an awkward smile. She quickly ushered you inside. The neighbor also gathered around to watch, seeing the change in you too. For a moment, they couldn't believe their eyes. This couple was not bad looking, and now with these outfits, anyone would think you were rich city folk, visiting relatives in the countryside. But as neighbors, they knew best that your family was dirt poor, scraping by on a tight budget. Lin's mother led her daughter and son-in-law into the house. The startled look on the neighbor's face just now, she had seen it clearly. The pride in her heart swelled. Finally, she could hold her head high. After her daughter married, she didn't live well, and people often laughed at her. Now, at last, she had reason to be proud. She looked at her daughter's outfit. No longer those old, ill-fitting clothes, but brand new from head to toe. And on her feet were rubber-soled shoes. Clearly high-quality goods. Then she looked at her son-in-law. No longer the irritable, stingy man he used to be. Now, his every gesture was steady and composed, as if he had become a different person. She barely recognized him. No wonder her daughter said he had changed. It seemed he really had become better. After sitting down, Lin Qingxue asked, "Mom, where's my brother?" Lin's mother looked down at the baby in her arms, adjusting the child's little clothes, and replied with a smile, "He took the child to town. He should be back soon." As soon as she finished speaking, they saw Lin Mingliang pushing that old bicycle with a crossbar, returning, dusty from the journey. On the way, he heard villagers say that his sister had come with the child. He wasn't sure if you had gone crazy again. If it weren't for his own sister, why would she marry this destitute man, Zhao Jinghua, who only had the title of life-saving benefactor? After parking the bicycle, he came inside and saw you there. His face immediately darkened. Lin's mother saw her son's expression and knew what was going on. She quickly smoothed things over. "Son, Jinghua brought a bunch of things to see me." Lin Mingliang glanced at the scattered items on the table and couldn't help snorting coldly. He pulled over a stool and sat down heavily. "I'm itching to give your brother-in-law a good scolding, but I'm afraid Mom won't be happy. You knew the rotten things you had done before. That made your brother-in-law hold a grudge against you. You didn't expect to get a warm welcome." So Lin Mingliang's attitude wasn't surprising at all. Just then, Zhao Xiaoyan came in carrying a child. As soon as she saw her own brother, a trace of worry flashed in her eyes, but she still forced a smile. She wasn't sure if her brother had come this time to freeload again. Every time he came, it was to borrow money or things, making her lose face in her husband's family. Although her husband had never quarreled with her over Zhenggua's matters, their faces had never turned red. But precisely because of that, she felt even more ashamed. She wanted to say that last time, because of borrowing money, her brother had even beaten up her husband, but the words stuck in her throat. You saw the grievance in your third sister's eyes, and your heart was troubled. You knew very well that for more than 2 years, because of you, your third sister's days in her husband's home had not been easy. Remembering that in the previous life, after your wife jumped into the river with your daughter, your family had cut ties with you. Only your third sister, when you left, secretly slipped you 20 yuan and a few hot, boiled eggs. So after you became successful, fearing that your third sister would be caught in a dilemma because of your family, you didn't dare to contact her. Later, you heard from a fellow villager that your sister and brother-in-law wanted to start a small business, so you bought the shop they had their eye on and rented it to them at a rock-bottom price. For a moment, the room fell into silence. Lin Qingxue also sensed that the atmosphere was a bit off. For more than 2 years, the family had indeed been scraping by thanks to help from her parents' home. She touched her pocket and pulled out a stack of 10 yuan notes. Earlier, she hadn't known what you wanted her to do with this money. On the road, you had said that this 200 yuan was to repay the debt to her mother and brother. When Lin's mother heard this, she was quite surprised. This guy used to borrow money. It was like throwing a meat bun to a dog, never to return. Never thought he would ever pay back the borrowed money. Just hoped he would cause fewer troubles. "Mom, Jinghua told me to give this to you," Lin Qingxue said as she stuffed the money into her mother's pocket. Lin's mother saw so much money and panicked inside. She quickly freed the hand holding the child and stuffed the money back to her daughter. "Hurry and put it away. Why are you carrying so much money? What if it gets lost?" Her tone carried a hint of reproach. "You didn't expect your mother-in-law to react so strongly. You quickly said, 'Mom, you must take this money.' I was immature before. From now on, Qingqing and I will live well together. If you don't take this money, I won't feel at ease." Lin's mother's pupils trembled slightly. She didn't understand what had happened in such a short time. To make a person reform, her gaze fell on her daughter, seeing her smile and signal to take the money. Only then did she, with a nervous heart, tuck the money away. "Mom will keep this money for you first. Whenever you need it, come to Mom anytime," Lin's mother said. Lin Mingliang looked at you, also completely confused. He muttered to himself in doubt. Then he looked at his sister, dressed brightly and beautifully, a sparkle in her eyes. No longer the lifeless look. "Since my sister says so, I'll trust you one more time." So he turned and instructed his wife, Yenner, "Go get some dishes to go with the wine." When Lin Qingxue heard they were going to drink, she immediately became a bit anxious. "Little brother, we still have to go back later. There's so much money at home. No one watching it. I'll feel uneasy. Besides, I'm afraid you'll drink too much and fly into a drunken rage again." Lin Mingliang waved his hand. "It's fine, sis. We'll just have a little. Won't hold you up going home." Seeing she couldn't talk sense into her brother, Lin Qingxue looked at you, hoping you wouldn't drink. You received your wife's signal, grinned broadly, showing a mouthful of big white teeth. "It's fine, wife. You can be 100% at ease. I can hold my liquor. Hearing this, Lin Qingxue felt a little displeased. After giving you a look, she took her nephew from her sister-in-law's arms, sat to the side in a sulk, and didn't say another word. Zhao Xiaoyan busied herself, then set up a table for them in the yard, and brought out the baijiu her husband had stashed away. The two men didn't exchange a single useless word. They poured the wine, clinked bowls, and gulped it down in silence. Lin Qingxue sat in the main room holding her little nephew, distracted, worryingly glancing outside from time to time, watching the way her brother and you were drinking. She couldn't sit still. Lin's mother observed her daughter's every move closely, seeing her care so much about you. It seemed the couple had been getting along well these past few days. Seeing that, she was finally truly at ease. The two men in the yard, after downing a bowl of wine, slowly opened up. Lin Mingliang exhaled a strong breath of alcohol, his cheeks flushed with an unnatural red, his eyes a bit glazed. He raised his arm and put it on your shoulder, saying, "Brother-in-law, today for my sister's sake, I'm willing to sit here and drink with you. I won't bring up past unpleasantness. I only hope that from now on, you will treat my sister well. Otherwise, I'll risk my life to make you pay." The bond between brother and sister Lin is deep. In the previous life, after Lin Qingxue jumped into the river, Lin Mingliang beat you half to death, if not for Lin's mother stopping him. Fearing her son would end up in prison, your brother-in-law would have beaten you to death, to avenge his sister. You nodded. Without a word, you picked up the bowl, tilted your head back, and downed the 2 liang of strong liquor. In one gulp, the wine was fiercely spicy, flowing down your throat, burning your stomach with a fiery heat. Lin Qingxue couldn't sit still anymore. She came out holding the child, shouted at you, "Hey, do you still want to go home?" Hearing your wife, you quickly put down the wine bowl, a smile spreading across your handsome face. Not drinking anymore. A little bit of wine like this is nothing to you. Perhaps too happy or the alcohol hitting. You felt a bit dizzy. Lin Qingxue went to pull you, revealing on her small arm a barely noticeable purple-black mark. Lin Mingliang's attention was caught. His eyes instantly turned sharp. An indescribable anger surged in his heart. He suddenly stood up, threw his wine bowl, grabbed you by the collar, and angrily demanded, "What did you do to my sister? What happened to the wound on her hand? You said you had changed for the better. I think a dog can't change its habit of eating shit. You haven't changed a damn thing." You were caught off guard by the sudden interrogation. Was Lin Mingliang drunk and throwing a fit? You looked at Lin Qingxue's wrist and suddenly understood. You hurriedly explained he had misunderstood, saying that you couldn't go on. It was indeed caused by you, but not the way Lin Mingliang imagined. Your hesitant manner only made Lin Mingliang more convinced of his assumption. How would he listen? He only believed what he saw. His sister Lin Qingxue had always been gentle, and now to have such a wound on her wrist. How could he not feel heartbroken? He swung a punch at you, cursing, "You bastard. How dare you bully my sister?" You staggered back a few steps, almost falling, holding your aching cheek. You didn't fight back, just kept repeating, "You really misunderstood. I didn't bully your sister." Seeing this, Lin Qingxue quickly stepped forward to stop her brother, explaining anxiously, "Brother, you really misunderstood. I hurt myself accidentally. It has nothing to do with him. Don't hit him anymore. Sister, if you're wronged, just say so. At worst, divorce and come back. Our family won't lack a meal for you. Even if you can't remarry and stay an old maid, it's fine." Lin Qingxue was very moved. But this time, he really had misunderstood. She could only blush and whisper a few words in Zhao Xiaoyan's ear. After Zhao Xiaoyan heard, she looked at her in surprise. Then, at her firm gaze, she stood on tiptoe and whispered something in Lin Mingliang's ear. After hearing, Lin Mingliang looked at his sister, seeing her nod at him. The words relayed by Zhao Xiaoyan didn't seem like a lie. Only then did he slowly release your collar. But the anger in his heart hadn't completely dissipated. He just held it back and didn't flare up again. Regarding Lin Mingliang's misunderstanding, you thought it was perfectly normal. In your previous life, you were a scoundrel, and you often beat Lin Qingxue, so you didn't fight back at all. Lin Qingxue looked at the blood at the corner of your mouth and felt a pang of heartache. She knew that her brother did it out of a desire to protect her, but she also knew that this time you were innocent. She shot you a glare. "If it weren't for you being too much of a troublemaker, how could my brother misunderstand?" He muttered with Zhao Xiaoyan for a long time. Lin Mingliang still wasn't too sensible. How could he hurt his arm that badly doing that? But seeing his sister's shy expression, it seemed real. Lin Mingliang didn't want to apologize. He just said fiercely, "If you dare to hit my sister, you wait for me. No, I will treat Qingxue well." You repeatedly assured him. After this disturbance, Lin Mingliang's attitude toward you also changed. How unruly his brother-in-law was before. Even dogs would tuck their tails when seeing him. He was hit by him, yet didn't fight back. Just looked down obediently, looking at him with a wronged expression. On the way back, your mind felt quite excited, bending your tall body, resting your chin on your wife's shoulder. You kept calling out wife from time to time. Fortunately, there were few pedestrians on the road. Otherwise Lin Qingxue would have felt embarrassed. She didn't know why this man had started acting drunk again. Before, when he got drunk, he was very strong. If anything slightly displeased him, he would torment her. But now, the person sticking close behind her seemed very clingy. From time to time, he pulled her hand and whispered in her ear. The wine vapor he breathed made her neck tickle. When approaching the village, she stopped walking. She said to the person behind her, "You, stand properly. Walk properly." As she spoke, she adjusted the position of her daughter in her arms. She had carried her all the way back. Her arm was indeed sore from exhaustion. This man had wanted to hold her, but he had been drinking, so how could she dare let him? Although he walked steadily, it was pitch dark. She dared not take the risk. Scolded by your wife, you straightened your back and obediently followed behind her. One day, You brought your things and prepared to go up the mountain. Your main purpose for going up the mountain today was to verify your guess. A few days ago, you pulled some wild celery, wanting to bring it home for seasoning, but you found you couldn't throw it into the space. At the time, you thought the space was broken, but other things could be thrown in normally. You didn't dare eat it. You took that handful of wild celery to the village clinic. The village doctor told you that wasn't wild celery, but poison hemlock. Poison hemlock and wild celery look very similar, but poison hemlock is toxic throughout. If you accidentally eat poison hemlock, you may later experience burning and swelling in the mouth, severe diarrhea, difficulty breathing, and other symptoms. In severe cases, death may occur within 10 hours. You gave the village doctor 2 packs of cigarettes and a rabbit to repay him for saving your life. When you left, the village doctor also secretly slipped you a copy of Shinong's Classic of Herbs, telling you not to eat anything from the mountain carelessly. He also gave you a packet of homemade insect repellent powder. You suspected your space had the ability to detect poison. Walking along a lush path, you bent down from time to time, parting the grass to explore. Soon you found many wild mushrooms, including some that looked quite tempting. You picked and threw them into the space. As you had guessed, those colorful, obviously poisonous mushrooms could not be taken into the space. This was an auxiliary function of the space. Seeing that aside from plants, you also wanted to try animals. You moved nimbly through the forest, each step cautious and agile. Whenever you heard the soft rustle of leaves, you would react quickly, skillfully picking up the slingshot and loading a pellet. The pellet, with astonishing speed and accuracy, pierced through the dense vegetation, striking the venomous snakes trying to hide in the shadows. The struck snake writhed in pain instantly, then lay still. You tried on a snake whose tongue had been cut off, and a snake whose tongue had not been cut off. You found that only after cutting off the tongue could the venomous snake be placed into the space. You picked up a 7-inch pit viper, pressing continuously with your fingertip, until you felt the snake's abdomen, a hard object in its abdomen. Then you took out a small knife from your cloth bag, slit open the snake's abdomen, found the gallbladder, tied the bile duct tightly at the gallbladder opening, then cut it off, then tore off the outer fat membrane, and carefully stored it. Both the snake gallbladder and meat could be stored separately in the space. After handling these, you looked at the remaining snake body, wiping your hands with a handkerchief, while thinking, I wonder if my wife eats snake meat. Snake meat is very delicious. I'll take it back and ask her first. If she doesn't eat it, I'll bring it to the market to sell. Fortunately, I have the space. Otherwise, these snake gallbladders would be hard to preserve. You took out a bottle of erguo from the space and opened it. Threw in more than 10 snake gallbladders. 4 fresh snake gallbladders, besides drying, soaking in liquor, is the best preservation method. Suddenly, from the nearby woods came 2 clear calls of a pheasant. The calls particularly loud in the quiet mountain forest. You only listened briefly, then quickly took out the slingshot and pellets from your waist. With a whoosh, the pellet traced a smooth arc in the twilight, like a shooting star across the night sky, shooting out swiftly and accurately. A pheasant that was joyfully hopping in the woods didn't have time to react before it was hit by a rapidly approaching pellet, its body instantly losing vitality, falling to the ground, unable to move. You quickly stepped forward, gently picked up the pheasant still with the pellet. Chicken stewed with mushrooms. A perfect match, wife. I'm back. You placed 2 baskets in the yard. Lin Qingxue glanced at them. Good harvest today. You washed your hands while asking Lin Qingxue, wife, do you eat snake meat? Lin Qingxue glanced at that large dark green and patterned snake. Just looking at it made her lose her appetite, let alone eating it. If you don't eat it, then I won't cook it. You saw Lin Qingxue refuse decisively. Knew she didn't care for this, so you regretfully stuffed the snake into the basket, covering it with grass, to avoid displeasing your wife. After washing your hands, you took out the mushrooms you had picked to dry. Also washed the wild greens. Part of them you planned to make into dried vegetables, the other part to make pickled vegetables. You cooked very quickly. Soon you called out to Lin Qingxue. Eat, Donghua. How is this soup so delicious? Lin Qingxue asked curiously. This soup is made with wild greens and mushrooms from the mountain. I picked a lot and brought them back. Winter is coming. I'll pick more now to dry, so we can eat them in winter. Really delicious, Lin Qingxue praised endlessly. She said while picking up food. She herself actually couldn't eat that much. She ate 1 flatbread, and a bowl of soup was enough. But you can't just pick these things casually. Some are poisonous. If someone who doesn't know eats them by mistake, they could be poisoned to death. You reminded her. Donghua, how do you know so much? Lin Qingxue asked curiously. Probably the power of knowledge. Anyway, I can tell if it's poisonous just by looking. Lin Qingxue didn't ask anything more. This version of you is good. Much better than before. She likes it very much. The next evening, you took a bath, changed into clean clothes, and took Lin Qingxue to 4th uncle's house. Your wife's brother is the son of your distant uncle. According to village custom, tomorrow, he marries a new wife. Tonight, he entertains close relatives. They sit down for a meal. The men drink at a separate table. The women eat and chat at another table. At this time, 4th aunt walks over to the women's table carrying a jar. This is homebrewed fruit wine. It's not strong. It won't get anyone drunk. Everyone, have some, she says with an apologetic smile. I hear you're a formidable one, and you spoil your wife terribly, afraid of offending him. 4th aunt is the first to pick up the bowl in front of Lin Qingxue. She pours a bowl for her. Drink up, Qingxue. It's sweet, not spicy. Lin Qingxue looks at the fruit wine in the bowl. She lifts it and smells it. With a faint sweet aroma, she takes a sip. Although it's not exactly sweet, and has a bit of sourness, the taste is actually quite good. After drinking, it doesn't have that strong a spicy kick. It doesn't feel like alcohol, more like soda. At this moment, Wang's wife nearby can't help but pluck up the courage and leans in close to Lin Qingshue's ear, whispering, Qingxue, keep an eye on your man. Take a look at Hui Hui. She doesn't stay at the women's table properly. She insists on going to the men's table, and she sits right next to your Xinghua. Lin Qingxue follows her gaze and glances out of the corner of her eye at the south table, not far away. There she sees Zhang Hui Hui, all shy and coy, pouring wine for the men one by one. She looks like a fawning, obsequious lapdog. She withdraws her gaze and smiles at Wang's wife beside her. She doesn't say anything. Wang's wife sees that she is unmoved, feels that she seems different today from usual. Heaven knows, when fourth aunt saw you, bringing him along to the banquet, her soul nearly flew out of her body. She was terrified that some guest today might say the wrong thing and provoke you into a big scene. Wang's two daughters-in-law haven't dared to go out recently. Their faces are swollen like pigs' heads. It said they were gossiping about Lin Qingxue and were beaten so badly by Zhao Xinghua. From a distance, looking at Lin Qingshue's brows and eyes like a painting, skin so fair and tender it seems you could pinch water out of it. Her figure is even more perfect beyond words. And in between, you can catch a faint fragrance, let alone men. Even as a woman herself, she can't take her eyes off her. How puzzling. We're both women. How is she born so beautiful? Lin Qingxue notices the gaze of Wang's wife beside her. She raises the fruit wine in front of her and says to the woman beside her, Sister-in-law Wang, let's have a drink together. Wang's wife hears her calling her sister-in-law, and her honest, dark face beams with joy. She picks up the fruit wine and drinks with her. Sister, if you have anything in the future, just tell me, your sister-in-law. Although I only married into the village 1 year earlier than you, I know everything about the village well. The women at the table, seeing that the city wife Lin Qingxue is so easy to talk to, can't help but breathe a sigh of relief. They are no longer as restrained as before. Occasionally, they even manage to chat a few words with her. On the south table side, Zhang Hui Hui, sitting next to you. Her leg under the table occasionally rubs against you intentionally. After noticing you dodge, you don't even give her a sideways glance. She doesn't believe you have no feelings for her at all. Zhang Hui Hui deliberately drinks a bit of wine and pretends to be dizzy. She can't help but lean towards you, although each time you dodge without leaving a trace. But the more you do this, the more unwilling she is to give up. When the banquet disperses, Wang's wife sees Zhang Hui Hui pestering you and calling out, Xinghua, come quickly. Your wife seems drunk. Hearing her words, you stand up and stride over. You reach out and take the person from Wang's wife. One arm wraps around that slender waist. Your eyes glance at the wine pot on the table. You ask, you gave her wine? Wang's wife says cheerfully, it's fourth aunt's homemade fruit wine. I just gave her a little. Who knew she could get drunk on this? At this moment, Lin Qingxue is leaning limply in your arms. Her long, beautiful phoenix eyes are hazy with drunkenness. Her jet black hair and red lips are flushed with a rosy hue. Her moist, crimson lips part slightly. She mumbles to you, hug me. As she speaks, her lotus-white, slender arms wrap around your lean, firm waist with not an ounce of fat. This action of hers makes the conservative-minded women nearby each feel a bit embarrassed. You never expected that your wife could be so cute when drunk, not caring about anything else. You lift the drunk woman in your arms, holding her around the waist. With steady steps, you leave fourth uncle's house. You originally wanted to go to sister-in-law's to pick up the child, but seeing that your wife is this drunk, you have to give up. Along the way, Lin Qingxue in your arms is particularly restless. Her fair little paws fumble around all over your body. The buttons on your white shirt collar are even pulled off one by you. You almost couldn't resist taking your wife right there in the open. You held back again, and finally managed to restrain yourself. Luckily, it was night, dark, and there was almost no one on the road. You carry her into the house and pace to the bedroom. You bend down and gently place her on the bed. Then you squat in the yard, and from your pants pocket you take out a cigarette and light it. Then, with the cigarette in your mouth, you tilt your head back and take a deep drag. Building a new house really can't wait any longer. The next day, Lin Qingxue is woken up by the sound of firecrackers. With sleepy, bleary eyes, she props herself up and sits up. She leans limply against the headboard. She remembers going to fourth uncle's house for drinks last night. At the time, because she thought the fruit wine was tasty, she indulged and drank a bit more. After that, she doesn't remember much. You, outside the bedroom, hear the noise inside. You come to the doorway. Wife, are you up? Qingxiang's new bride is about to enter the village. Get changed. I'll take you to see the new bride. Inside the bedroom, Lin Qingxue, having changed, lifts the curtain and comes out. She asks, Xinghua, where's the boy? It's not good to keep asking sister-in-law to help, is it? It's fine. Sister-in-law says he doesn't like crowds. We'll go pick him up in a bit. She happily goes to the yard to wash up briefly, and follows you to watch the excitement. At this moment, in Qingxiang's small yard, inside and outside the house are full of people. It's exceptionally lively. As soon as you arrive, Zhang Hui Hui sees you. You, over 1.8 meters tall, stand out among the crowd like a crane among chickens. Lin Qingxue still feels a bit shy, but you are very unabashed. You grab Lin Qingshue's arm and make her take your arm. Lawful wife, what's wrong with linking arms? You turn your head and glance at the person holding your arm. Then you look away. You say, no drinking with others from now on. Your magnetic voice carries an unquestionable seriousness. Hearing her man's words, Lin Qingxue is confused. She carelessly tilts her face up to look at the man beside her. When she sees your open collar with the unmistakable bite marks and faintly visible scratch marks that haven't faded, she is stunned for a moment. Could it be that she made a scene last night when drunk? Thinking of wearing your clothes this morning, she thinks her skin has become thicker than before, but still faintly feels her cheeks burning with a shameful heat. You lower your eyes. When you see her fair cheeks tinged with red, you wonder to yourself, is she shy? Lin Qingxue meets her man's scrutinizing, puzzled gaze. She gives you a sharp glare, annoyed. What are you looking at? Then she pinches you hard on the waist. Unpretentiously, she says, you can only look at me. You hear me? Seeing her like this, the thin, well-shaped corners of your mouth curl up into an exaggerated smile. Then you glance at the new clothes she is wearing. You retract your gaze and look at the newlyweds, Li Cheng and his bride. Every move you two make falls into Zhang Hui's eyes not far away. At this moment, she feels an unbearable ache in her heart, convinced that everything Lin Qingxue now has should have been hers. She regrets it. She regrets that back then she listened to her family, who said he was just a punk, that he had no future, and she didn't keep pestering him. No matter what, she can't give up on Brother Xinghua, a man this good. In looks, ability, Brother Xinghua is far better than the man she met through a matchmaker. So much better. No matter what, she has to win Brother Xinghua back. With Brother Xinghua's skills, she could eat meat every day, wear new clothes. None of that would be a problem. Thinking of this, Zhang Huihui smooths her clothes with one hand, tucks in her hair, and the ponytail tied with a dragon-shaped hairband weaves through the crowd. As she steps before the couple, with loving eyes, she says, Brother Xinghua, have some soda. With that, she holds out the soda bottle to you. You keep one hand in your pants pocket, the other arm held by the person beside you, and look at Zhang Huihui, saying flatly, you drink it. I'm not thirsty. Just then, someone starts teasing the groom, and at the critical moment, the groom pushes the bride out of the teasing crowd. Some young, unmarried teenagers instantly erupt into excitement. For a moment, the yard is in chaos. Seeing this, you pull the person beside you tightly into your arms, shielding her from the crowd's touch, carefully guiding her out of the pushing, noisy throng. Once out, your deep eyes scan her. Did anyone touch you? Only when she shakes her head do you withdraw your gaze. Take her jade-white hand and walk home. But Zhang Huihui in the crowd can't get out. She feels several hands groping her in the confusion. This startles her. She's still unmarried and fills her with shame. She wants to escape, but someone pushes her back in. In the process, the buttons on her chest are torn open by someone, revealing the white undershirt beneath. Panicked and frightened, she covers her chest with both hands. Eyes red, not knowing what to do. She searches the crowd for the one she longs for, but only then realizes he has already left, with Lin Qingxue in his arms. In an instant, she nearly breaks down and can't help shouting, Brother Xinghua, I'm still here. The noise drowns out her shouts. Lin Qingxue's eyes can't seem to stop staring at her man, seeing his sharply defined profile, so handsome. No wonder that Zhang Hui is so eager to become a stepmother to her daughter, so she doesn't watch her step, trips on something, stumbles, and pitches forward. Seeing this, you react quickly, reaching out a long arm, hook her slender waist, and pull her whole body into your arms. Frowning, you say coldly, watch your step, pressed against your solid, broad chest. Lin Qingxue finally breathes a sigh of relief, glad she didn't fall flat on her face. She pays no attention to your words, and as she walks arm in arm with you, her gaze still sticks to you. Meanwhile, after the groom hazing at Xingxiang's place, the crowd disperses. Zhang Huihui's clothes are torn to shreds. Since there were too many people present, no one admits to having taken advantage of her in the chaos. Even as Zhang Huihui sobs uncontrollably, the crowd of onlookers does nothing. Not a single person steps forward to speak for her. Only when Zhang Huihui's mother gets word, hurries over, and drags her away, cursing all the way. Soon the news spreads through the village. It somehow reaches Zhang Huihui's fiancé. When he learns of this, he doesn't stand up for her, but directly calls off the engagement. This incident becomes the talk of the village over tea and meals. Months later, on the day of the new house's roof-raising ceremony, most of the village shows up. You stand on a ladder, and with your own hands, you set the last main beam firmly in place as firecrackers crackle and pop. Red scraps flutter down like petals, landing on the freshly laid gray brick wall. The two-story house gleams with a new luster under the autumn sun. Glass windows shine brightly, the finest in all of Zhejiawa. You stand in the yard, holding your daughter in your arms, but your eyes keep scanning the crowd. Lin Qingxue, wearing a red sweater, stands by the stove serving food to the helpers. In the steaming big pot, simmer the wild boar meat you brought back from the mountains 2 days ago. The aroma fills the whole village. She's busy, a thin sheen of sweat on her forehead, cheeks flushed rosy. Every now and then, she looks up at you, and as soon as your eyes meet, she quickly looks away. Li Tian, bowl in hand, sidles up to Lin Qingxue and whispers, sister-in-law, look at brother. His eyes are glued to you. Lin Qingxue says nothing, but her ears turn red. After dark, the helpers gradually leave. The new house hasn't completely dried yet, so the family of 3 still sleeps in the east room of the old house. Your daughter is fast asleep on her small bed. You lie on the calm, by the moonlight filtering through the window, gazing at the person curled up in your arms. Lin Qingxue rests her head on your arm, breathing softly, still carrying the warmth of the day's labor. You lower your head and kiss the top of her hair. She doesn't wake, just burrows deeper into your arms. You keep your eyes open, staring at the roof beam blackened by years of cooking smoke, remembering your past life. At this time, you were probably lying drunk at some gambling table, having lost your last cent, with no idea that the woman and child at home were going hungry. But now, the person in your arms is real, her warm breath steady. You suddenly feel that your luck in this life is worth more than all the money you earned in the past. Early the next morning, before the sky is fully light, you get up. In the kitchen, you slice the leftover wild boar meat into thin pieces, crack 2 eggs, and steam a bowl of egg custard. By the time Lin Xingxue comes out carrying the child, breakfast is already on the table. After I eat, I'm going to the county town, you say, putting a piece of meat in her bowl. There's still some payment to settle at the brick factory, and I'll see if I can get some good lumber to make some decent furniture. Lin Xingxue nods, lowers her head to eat. She doesn't speak. You look at her like that, and know she doesn't want you to leave, but is too shy to say it. So you reach out and pinch her cheek. I'll be back before dark. Lin Xingxue looks up and glares at you, but doesn't pull away. After you leave, Lin Xingxue carries the child and wanders around the yard. The new house's windows haven't had glass installed yet, so plastic sheeting is tacked up to block the wind. She stands in front of it, peering through the thin plastic at the inside. The empty room, no longer dark and dirty. Like before, white walls, smooth cement floor, sunlight streaming through the window, lighting up the whole room. She suddenly remembers the year she first married into the family, living in this very old room. In winter, the wind leaked through. In summer, the rain dripped in, and she curled up in the corner of the Kong. Hearing the sound of you drunkenly kicking the door, she trembled all over with fear. At that time, he thought this life would be like this forever. Endure one day at a time. If he couldn't endure, then just die. But now, he looked down at the daughter sleeping in his arms, and then looked at the 2 brand new blue brick rooms. It felt like a dream. In the evening, you rode back on the newly bought 28-inch bicycle, a bundle of wood tied to the back seat, and a bag of brown sugar hanging from the handlebars. When you entered the yard, Lin Xingxue was sitting in the sunset holding the child. The red sweater on her was dyed warm by the afterglow. You propped up the bike, walked over, and took the child, holding her hand with the other hand, walking toward the new house. Go in and take a look. Push open the wooden door of the new house. Inside, it was already almost tidied up. In the main room stood a newly made 8 immortals table, a ready-made one you asked someone to buy from the town. The Kong in the inner room was also built, covered with the new mattress pad you brought back from the county town. Lin Xingxue stood at the door of the inner room, looking at the window pasted with white paper. Suddenly she remembered something, and softly said, if only we had such days earlier. But you didn't let her finish. You hugged her from behind, your chin resting on her shoulder. From now on, every day will be like this. The daughter in her arms woke up, opened her bright black eyes, babbling and reaching out little hands. Lin Xingxue looked down at her, the corners of her mouth slowly curling up. Outside the window, the sky had completely darkened. In the distance, someone lit a lamp, the dim yellow light flickering through the paper-pasted window. A dog in the village barked twice, then fell silent again. You gathered your wife and child into your arms, listening to their breathing. Suddenly, you felt an immense sense of peace in your heart. In your past life, you had everything, except you didn't have her. In this life, you want nothing. As long as you have them, that's enough. Footsteps came from outside the door. It was Li Tiantian returning from next door. She carefully knocked on the door of the main room. Big brother, sister-in-law, I'm back. Lin Xingxue broke free from your arms. Blushing, went to open the door. You stood in place, looking at her back, and suddenly called out, wife. She turned around and looked at you puzzled. You smiled but didn't speak. She shot you a glance, then turned to greet Li Tiantian. You held the daughter, stood in front of the new house window, looking at the pitch-black night outside. The daughter babbled, little claws grabbing your face. You bent down and kissed her soft cheek, and whispered, Nyo Nyo, our good days have just begun.